C-O-L. Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. I'ma keep ripping loud till there's no more left in me. Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. I'ma keep ripping loud till there's nothing left in me. Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. DC, that B4L, reppin' that star, I do it so well. It's Puma on the toes, but the stars on the clothes. I'm Starboy, fresh at the DF Dub. Yeah, I'm a hard hitter. Don't stare to fit, it'll ego hit you. What is you saying, man? Look at the swag. Please do forgive the brag. I'ma pull up later in the Cowboy Jag. Don't you slip on the drip, I'm flossing the sauce. Go so hard for the star. Yeah, that be win, lose, or draw. If you take a L, get the F off my block. Cowboys win. Rock Joes, pull up the shots. Really can't help it, got a star status. Even got it tatted on my arm. Yes, we be 5 green strong. Left a little room cause it's quest for the Sids. Starboy really reppin' this shit. Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. I'ma keep rippin' loud until there's no more left in me. Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. I'ma keep rippin' loud until there's nothing left in me. Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys to the death for me.
Yeah, tell me who the #1 fan. Yeah, Mr. Westside, I'm the man. Dallas Cowboys from my head to the toes. They better recognize who the fuck I am. Damn, haters run their mouth like a bitch when they team ain't shit and my team stay lit. Yeah, I'm about to rep this shit to the day I die in an all blue casket. If you wanna get with a club with love, tell Star Status Westside sent ya. Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame. Emmett Smith is our main. Game time, prime time, all the time. Your team ain't never on TV like mine. That's because we different. We America's team and we run this. Like Zeke runs circles right at defense. Jerry Jones, that's nonsense. Let the coaches coach. And I'll have a smoke. And I know y'all wanna toast to that.
Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. I'ma keep rippin' loud until there's no more left in me. Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. I'ma keep rippin' loud until there's nothing left in me. Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. DC, that B4L. DC, that B4L. Reppin' that star, I do it so well. DC, that B4L. DC, that B4L. DC, that B4L. Reppin' that star, I do it so well.
What's up with you guys? It's your boy West Coast. Yo, in 2020, I've teamed up with my hot boy, JAYLON Smith, number 54, to bring you guys some of the most exclusive eyewear known to man. CEV. I mean, everybody's wearing them. Make sure you guys go over to CEVcollection.com today and use promo code CEV West Coast to get yourself a hot boy discount today. What's up with you guys? It is your boy West Coast. And yo, man, we live in the building, man. And I bet you I know what today is. What is today? It's Tuesday. So you already know what it is, man. It's CEV Tuesday, man. Brought to you by CEV Collection, man. Hey, man, I got the big homie coming in a little bit, man. But before we get him in here, man, what's up to you guys? And if I'm live, you already know I got my cowboy cousin, Boss Cowboy, up in the box to the left of me, man. So what's up with you, Boss Cowboy? How you doing this afternoon, man?
Oh, man, just another day, man. CEV Tuesday, time to celebrate. You know, because actually we CEV every day, but it's CEV Tuesday.
You already know what it is, man. Hey, so this is what we're doing. We're gonna be running two. Competitions tonight, and they're gonna be for the two S's, and that is shares and stars. So I got 2 autograph pictures left of my boy. Actually, I got 2 more autograph pictures of my boy Jaylon Smith, and this is what I'm gonna be doing. The person with the most the Star Lord is going to get 1 sent to him, and then the person with the most shares is going to get 1 sent to him. So guess what? Everybody is eligible, and everybody is going to be able to have an opportunity to win. So all you got to do is hit that share button, or hit that star button, and West Coast got you, man. But hey, man, today is CEV Tuesday, man. Brought to you by CEV, man. I appreciate you guys. I'm gonna take these off and switch to, these is the I'm lobbying to get these changed to the West Coasts. You know what I'm saying? I'm almost there. I feel I'm close. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna switch to my y'all already know I gotta switch to my working ones, my working CEVs. Them is the outside CEVs. These is the endo. You know what I'm saying? See, I got the outdo. You know what I'm saying? I got the outdo, but I got a little endo too. But I ain't gonna lie, my outdo kind of smell like my endo. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know what you talking about.
He like, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, I'm just saying, man, we got it. I got a little something. I got a little something for everybody. You know what I'm saying, Boss Cowboy? I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, I need to get my indoor. Like seriously, like I only have the outdoor shades. I mean, the daytime. I really do need to get the indoors. Like you got the clear our views. But these rock daytime and nighttime.
I heard
and
that.
Because that time we was at Cowboy Packages, man, I worked Charles. Like I worked the hell out of Charles. I mean, Charles gave me about 20 birds until I settled for these. So, and Charles, for those of you who don't know, that's the co-owner of CV with Jaylon Smith.
Hey, man. So I appreciate you guys. We're already at 2,000 stars for the day. I mean, for the show, man. My Miss Gloria, I appreciate you. Ty, I appreciate you guys. We're at 7,000 stars. You guys already know. Man, let's try to get to 20,000 stars, man. I appreciate you guys. We're going to have Jaylon Smith sliding through here in a little bit, man. Hey, man. And not only do we have Jaylon Smith sliding through, we also got my boy Cal coming through, man. We got my boy Cal, man. Cal, what is it? How do you say it? Human?
I'm going to call him Cal.
I'm going to call him. Hey, his mama called him Cal. I'm going to call him Cal. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and I was talking to Cal
Appreciate
right before
you,
the show. He was like, hey, man, Jaylon coming on, man. I said, listen, man, you the steak and potatoes. Like,
Appreciate you.
And we obviously know Jaylon is great. I said, but at the same time, you definitely not less. Like, we go talk ball, big time ball with you too. You know what I'm saying? So, but it show you, man, like how humble he is, because he was like, hey, man, if y'all want to take y'all time with Jaylon, take y'all time. He's like, no, we want both.
Oh, absolutely, man. Hey, but I mean, let's just be real though, Wes. I mean, let's just be real. Every time that you put like my boy put a post out today, and it was like, do you think Blake Jarwin will get 7 touchdowns, or do you think Alden Smith will get 6 sacks or something? I'm like, man, I'll take both. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
That's not even greedy, but I think you should always be like that. Like anytime someone give you a scenario, try to figure out a way if you can just get both of them. Well, you know what? You can either get this one or you can get that. Well, how about I just take both of them? What could you do me on both? So that's my approach on things. So I was absolutely ecstatic about that. So hey, yo, I appreciate you. My boy Landon with the 200 stars, Travis with the 200 stars. Look like we're at we're going over 3,000. I appreciate you guys, Manny. Man, let me hey, we got a bunch of people sharing too right now too. Also, man, my boy Boss Cowboy, he got his stars approved. We're just waiting for it to get put on his page. So I need you guys to, for the same people that's showing that love to West Coast, make sure you go over to Cash App. It's already set up. It's the easiest thing in the world. All you got to do is type in Dallas Boss. That's all you got to type in.
Dallas Boss is how you cash
Dallas
App.
Boss.
I've been doing a good job of that. I sure appreciate the tips. But keep it going. I actually had Eric hit me up today. He said, man, how do I support you? And I'm sorry, Eric, I should have been clear on that. The Cash App is one of the best ways to tip me until those stars are officially approved. And it's real close, because West Coast already pushed me all the way through, because he did some of the last key things that I needed to get them all the way, but we just waiting on them at this point. But I appreciate all the love, and y'all continue to show love.
Absolutely, absolutely. So appreciate you guys, Virgil, and that's one thing that we love here, man. It's just all about, man, sharing the love, because when you share the love, the reciprocation is love back, man. So we appreciate you guys. You guys are the reason why we go so hard. And you guys are the reason why we always, our quest is always to get better and to do different things, man. So, bringing on sponsors and things like that, man, it's just going to get us back to, man, because I'm going to tell y'all, I always say this, man. Like my nickname was West Coast Cowboy, the most traveled cowboy. Like, that's what I do. Like, I'm on the road again. You know what I'm saying? Man, I'm on the road again. You know what I'm saying? But it's like with the you know what I'm saying? Everything's been shut down. But I promise you, man, as soon as it get back up, man, I'm going to be gas masking up. But I'm going to be right there in the cut. You know what I'm saying?
My boy Reggie P, man. Shout out to my boy Adrian Harris.
Hey, and shout out to
Page. What's up, my man?
And shout out to my boy Lucky, man. My boy Lucky, I haven't gotten him yet, but my boy Lucky shot me out some masks for the family. I was like, bruh, he was like, yo, West Coast, I'm gonna send you a mask. I'm like, all right, send me your. He's like, shoot me your address. I'm like, all right, I got you. So then, bro, he sends me the thing. I'm like, bro, there's 7 masks, and he's like, oh yeah, man, I want to make sure. I'm like, bro, man, I appreciate you, Lucky. I just want to let you know, bro, I appreciate you, man.
I love the love we get from people that
appreciate you, big dog.
Support us, man. It's a beautiful thing to just show appreciation in so many different ways. Rodney sent me a mic and a soundboard. I haven't received it yet. I knew it was gonna take long because the COVID got stuff like that.
Appreciate you, Tyler.
But yeah, man, just all the love, like sending you masks and just the tips and just all the stuff, man. And so yeah, this is just beautiful,
Yeah. So hey, and we got a special code tonight. I know we got a special code that we're gonna be using today. It's gonna be I want to say it, but I'm gonna wait till he gets on so he can say it because I don't know the exact words how he's gonna exactly spell it, and I don't want you guys to mess this up. But you guys are gonna get an additional 15% off of CEV glasses today if you purchase glasses today, and that's brought to you by West Coast and Boss Cowboy, man. And it's cool, man, because that basically pays for your shipping and takes like $6-7 off the glasses too. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you guys already know we are not cheap, we are frugal. But I mean, my thing is this, you know what I'm saying? When you got, when you're doing it for the supporters, man, you just can't be overpriced and you just can't be doing it like, you know what I'm talking about? Like you gotta be real Jerry Jones like, you know what I'm saying? And make them we are very Jerry Jones like with our business.
Support this show. I mean, it's for the people when they put in that West Coast code and then in the future they go put in the Boss Cowboy code. We working on that.
Appreciate you, Rodney. Appreciate you.
That shows them who's driving the activity, and we rock these shades. Like, look, this is not just a show thing when I rock these. This is when I go out. This is when I'm getting ready to go mingle. When I golf.
Hey, speaking of which,
everything that I do is rocking these CV shades because I know I look good in these things.
Hey, Boss Cowboy. What was I talking about early before I got on the show? What was I talking about? I was on my preacher. I was on my little stand, and I was saying, like, man, I ain't gonna lie, man. Some of y'all is probably wondering, why has that one not come to me? You know what I'm saying? All I'm gonna say is get you a pair of CEVs, and your life might change. You know what I'm saying? Your life might change for the better. Hey, nah, I'm playing with y'all though.
Listen. One thing I'm gonna say.
Hey, we having fun though, man.
No, it is just true. It's
appreciate
one thing
you, Derek.
I'm gonna say
appreciate
about
you,
Jaylen,
Anthony.
See, I'm a Carter Cowboy. And as a Dallas Carter
Cody.
Cowboy, if you don't know what that is, you got to look up Carter. Carter should be known. But one thing about Jaylen stays sweet, man. And I appreciate that. Being where I'm from, like he'll come out and just shock you with some silver spat with the gloves to match. I say, boy,
he be on his
already know these shades with somebody who already know how to swag all the way down to his toes on the football field. Yeah. The shades he getting it right. He got it right.
Hey, my boy Sam says, can you fish in these glasses? I'm gonna tell you this, man. I was in Arizona this weekend. Why? Because my state is still currently closed. You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate you guys. It looks like we were crazy. But I went to Arizona, right? And I took these glasses right here. I was halfway there, and I almost thought I didn't bring them, and I was almost about to turn around literally to go back and get them. But then my wife was like, blum, blum. Oh, hold on. My wife hit me with this. Hold on. Can I do it? I got to do it. My wife did this. I packed them for you.
Listen,
yes!
West Coast. I was getting ready to take my shades to the office, and I said, "No, man, hit that button."
Yeah.
I said, "I'm not leaving these shades today." Just like you said.
So man, my lady packed them. I was out there. The sun was ridiculous. We were on the lake the whole time, and they held your boy down. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I'm actually lobbying to get these named as the West Coasts. You know what I'm saying? I know Coasts is not a word, but I think we could do it.
It's a word
The
today.
West Coasts.
Yeah, man. We speak Ebonics, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Influent.
Because these was just me. When I seen these, I was like, ooh, these is fly. All right, man. So, yo, we got 131 people on here, man. Let's talk a little Cowboy football, man, before we get up in here, before my boy Jaylon slides up in here, man, because there has already been talks of Jaylon Smith, already kind of like in the media and in the Cowboy sphere. And it was about him possibly switching his position to, something of an edge rusher. And I mean, with the addition of Aldon Smith coming in, I want to know, Boss Cowboy, do you think that changes any, or what are your thoughts on him switching?
It shouldn't, bro. Like, if anybody been following me for any time, I was saying that Jaylon should come off that end when I used to get laughed at for saying it. But the only reason I started saying it is because I saw the film. Like, I called him a junior Von Miller, man. They are the exact same size. Like, people don't see his spin move, his bend. That stuff hasn't even been revealed yet. And he want to play it because he works on pass rush moves at practice. They say, from what I hear, he does it every day.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, it's gonna be revealed, and I think I'm gonna be right on that. And I'm, you know me, West Coast, because actually the reason why I'm actually doing shows at West Coast told me, he said, man, you used to make predictions, and then you would post it like months later. And I'm gonna be right on that one. Now that one took about 4 years to develop, but now I think he's gonna kill at that defensive end, that designated pass rusher. I think he's gonna cause hell.
Yeah, man. And think about this, man. It's like you're putting him, I mean, at the end of the day, you're taking him away from that middle where that gludge and them guards. I call it gludge because it just gets all confusing in there. You know what I'm saying? There's so many big bodies in there, and then bow, you're getting plowed 5 yards, and there's a running back behind him. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you get him, and it's like I don't want Jaylon having to put on, like, because right now for him to play in the middle, he I would want him to be a little bit bigger, and it's like I don't want to lose that speed, man. And so it's like Von Miller, you're absolutely right, man. Von Miller has had a really good, productive career doing what he has done. You know what I'm saying? Just killing.
Just too athletic,
and then think about
bro,
this,
like,
in a passing league, because that's what it is now. Remember, this is a passing league. Man, you need as many people as you can to get after the quarterback. So it 100% makes sense.
I think he gonna do so much damage, bro.
I think so. He is too.
I mean, and I was watching his practices. That's where I really saw it. I was watching his Notre Dame practices. It's some tape out there. Just look up Jaylon Smith at the Notre Dame practices, and that's when Nelson was out there, and then the tackle, I forgot his name, but he plays for San Francisco, so he wasn't going against bums, and he was destroying them, bro. Like destroying them, bro. Like it was, and you could tell he loves it. Like he loves the win coming off that edge. Like you could see the sense of pride in winning coming off that edge. So I can't wait to see it. What I'm praying is that the other linebacker stay healthy so he don't have to go back to middle.
Absolutely. And, hey, man, we got 321 stars, man. I see you guys. Victoria just shared it to Dallas Cowboys True Blue fans. Remember, guys, we're giving them – I got 3 of these left. I got 3, but I can only give 2 away because I got to send 1 to my boy Rodney. I ain't forgot about you. But, yeah, so I got 2 of these I'm going to give away. 1 is going to be for the most shares. I can see it right here, just like Victoria just shared it to Dallas Cowboys True Blue fan page. Let me see some other folks that just shared it. Ding, ding, ding. My Tony, Miss T, what's up with you? Cal, was it DC4L? I appreciate you. Hail to the DC4L. Miss T, she just shared it to Dallas Cowboys Friends for Life. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate it. And then the other one is going to be for the stars. So I appreciate you. I think my boy who just sent, I saw you too, brother. He said, I want to win that. He said, I want to win it bad. I got you. My boy Tyler, man, you're definitely in first place as of so far, man, with 6,745 stars. So I appreciate you, big dog, man. Hey, man, I'm just, at the end of the day, man, this is what I'm excited about, man. I'm excited about that the Dallas Cowboys, kind of took a chance on a guy in Aldon Smith and took a guy in Randy Gregory, and now they're finally going to get rewarded for some of this diligence. Like, we've been looked at as the ass. That was my one cuss word. Dang, I should have used it for later on something. I feel like I could have used it later. But yeah, we've been looked at as on some of this stuff, man. But it's like finally we get to, and it's like for Jerry Jones, man, like I hope this, because Jerry Jones got an ego, right? So I hope some of these players that hit for him, I hope that suffices his ego in that thing so then he can let loose in some other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, bruh, you have ridiculously won on the at the defensive end. Like, like nobody, even the 99 bull, the 96 Bulls lost 12 games, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't win on every single deal, on every single. And it's like, Jerry, when you're getting, that's why I tell people, like, when they try to bring up money and things like that, but it's like, man, you're about to get premier pass rush off the right end for almost next to nothing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even if the Cowboys don't have a guy that gets 15, 16 sacks, they're going to have a bunch of guys that get 6 and 7 and 8s. And guess what? All them add up. You know what I'm saying? And I'll actually take that. I'll take that. And think about this. You still got Tyrone Crawford, who I believe, who can get some pressure up the middle at the defensive tackle, or defensive end position. And my guy who I really, really am pulling for this year, man, and not even just pulling for him, but I mean the film says that he should have a breakout season. Not a breakout season, like, how do I say this? Dorrance Armstrong had 2 sacks. But on film, he should have had like 9.
Hey.
Like, there you go. Look at that.
You said 9. I said 8. He was the almost guy, bro. Him and Hyder, bro.
Yeah.
Like they was always like,
always, bro.
But see, Tank was like that before he broke out.
Yep.
Tank was the almost guy, and he just needed that year 3. And I think you're right on that, man. So, and I want a superstar to emerge. And one of the things you said, going back to JAYLON, bro, I want him to play so well that they have to redo his contract.
Yep.
And see, obviously we're looking out for the team. We always want to be able to keep everybody, but you want some our players to play so well that it's like, we gonna have to come back to the table. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And they need to know that too. So it's like, who is gonna be that guy? And I would want it for him. I would also want, meaning JAYLON, but I also, like you said, I can see Armstrong doing it because we've been preaching this over a year. Don't rush any defensive lineman. You got to give all defensive linemen at least 3 years.
Yeah.
When did Taco start really showing something?
Yeah. Well, think about this, boss. I mean, think about this. Also, the level of offensive linemen has risen. Like, offensive linemen are just not like these fat dudes that couldn't run anymore. We're legitimately thinking about starting a rookie at center this year. Like, that's a legitimate thing. Like, Brienne was like, yeah, I think they're gonna give it to like, she just flat out said it. Like, so the level of and I appreciate you, Miss Latif, with the 530 stars. Hey, I'm gonna tell you this: the level of the offensive line play has just gone through the roof. Like, you seen how many offensive linemen came off the board in this draft? Like, it was ridiculous. And if I'm not mistaken, it happened last year. You know what I'm saying? Like, offensive lineman is now becoming one of those positions where it's like, mama, let your kid grow up to be an offensive lineman. Like, you gonna have, you know what I'm saying? Like, that is, offensive line is becoming that premier position also because why? They play longer and they can start earlier. You know what I'm saying? Ain't too many positions where you would be able to interject a rookie and just be like, yeah, I think he's gonna be okay. You know what I'm saying?
It's gonna be a lot of points in the NFL in 2020.
Yep.
It's going to be a lot of points.
Yes, it is.
Quarterbacks are going to have time, to your point, because of the extra quality protection that came out of the last 2 drafts. But then you also had just a slew of weapons that just went everywhere. Like, they went everywhere. So anybody that scanned the draft and that's why I can't wait to talk to Cal. Anybody that just, not just Dallas, just scan and see what Denver accomplished. Scan and look at what Kansas City did when they also got that running back, from LSU. So don't think that's going to help their passing game. Yes, I did talk about that's going to help their passing game, no doubt.
Absolutely. And say, man, can y'all hear me? Let me switch him over.
What's going on?
What's going on, Smooth? Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you see me?
Absolutely, I can see you. Let me switch some stuff up real quick. Let me switch it up. Boom. Let me see how that looks.
Hey, little man right here.
All right, let me What's up with you, Charles? I see you, man. I gotta switch. You guys came in a little.
brother.
I see you, man. Let me switch this camera up. But yo, man, I appreciate you guys for coming on the show today, man. We gonna talk about this is what we gonna dub this CEV Tuesdays. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel that, like, you know, everybody needs to have at least one day of the week where they literally just force themselves to have a clear eye view, like where you just kind of like identify the things in your life that you not. I mean, this is just kind of what it means to me. You know what I'm saying? Where I identify the things that I'm not really feeling in my life, or some things that I need to make an adjustment with, and I see them clearly, and I start making them changes. You know what I'm saying? So that's what my Tuesday is about, just me being productive. But I want to know, Smooth, you know what I'm saying, what exactly does CEV mean to you?
Man, CEV is it's all about having a clear-eyed view, a focused vision, determined belief, and earned dreams. Those are kind of three pillars of how I define what a clear-eyed view really means. You know, having a focused vision is all about having a laser beam focus and understanding what you want to accomplish. You know, and then a determined belief is just about, you know, how bad do you want it, and it's also about, you know, just a self-belief, a belief in God that He has your back. Just having that belief capacity that, you know, you can accomplish that. It's about having understanding that others believe in you as well, and trusting their guide, and, you know, along your journey. And then earned dreams is just about like waking up, grinding, putting in that constant, effortless work to accomplish, you know, that goal, or what you set out for. So that's really just what a clear-eyed view means, and you know, that's how me and Charles, we came up with, and our other partner Jamal Robinson just came up with, you know, a clear-eyed view lenses, and really focusing on, you know, that focused vision portion of it. You know, whenever you're out in this world and you're trying to find your purpose, and you're trying to leave your mark on this world, and on for your name, and for your family, you got to be locked into what you want to accomplish. So we just wanted to create an aesthetic around it, and that's how we came up with CV.
Shoot, man, I love that, man. But hey, man, I need to ask one little quick question, right? Because I looked in my film, I did my little thing, man. And you was a cold running back in the day too, man. I want to know.
Hey, man.
I want to know.
I got some pictures. I was just looking at some pictures, man. When I was in high school, swag crazy.
Hey, that championship game was kind of dumb though, right? But I want to know, like, what was the mindset between going, because I know, you know, running back and linebacker is definitely a transitional position. You know what I'm saying? So, but I want to know what was why the switch? What was like the deciding factor to make you say, you know what, I'm gonna do this linebacker thing? Because you had some outrageous running back numbers, man.
So honestly, I grew up kind of idolizing my brother. My brother Rod, who's a running back, plays for the Las Vegas Raiders, and I wanted to be like him. I wanted to be as elite as him. So I thank him for everything I've been able to accomplish, because he set the standard. You know what I mean? When it comes to the football end, and it's just we always had a natural gift. Our cousins played running back in high school. Our uncles played running back and quarterback in high school. So it was always the prominent positions, and you know, I just always had a natural fit for it. But you're correct in saying that running back and linebacker is similar.
I mean, I think that's why, that's why I think, just like, if you are able to rush more, I just think it just makes so much sense, because it's like literally you'll go from a running back, a linebacker, to just like hitting A gap and B gap and C gap. Oh. And I just feel like there's gonna be more swiping in 2020, man. That's what I feel like. You know, one thing I will say about JAYLON, man, you were hands down, as far as like entrepreneur, like one of the most like entrepreneurial and like business driven guys that I've come in contact in this, in this football sphere. And I want to shout out to my boy YL, because my boy YL was the first dude that really plugged me with you. You know what I'm saying? And then I also want to plug my boy Charles, man, because one thing that I noticed and one thing that I honestly have that I've actually picked this up from you is like the almost the network of wealth of you is almost based on the people you surround yourself with. And it's like, man, like I've been, we've done events and done things with you and stuff. And I've always, seen, my boy Charles, he's always been a square 100 dude, man. And I just want to kind of speak on your relationship with Charles, man, because he kind of, when he came, I interviewed him a month ago, and, man, he told me about that year when you were kind of rehabbing and things like that, man. And, them created leagues y'all made and stuff, man. So I just want to know, man, why is it so important, you keeping, solid people around you at all the times, man, and integrating them in your business and stuff like that?
Your circle matters. Your inner circle matters. And for me, it's just being blessed to have, some really solid and genuine people around me. And for Charles to be, he's my best man. Someday I'm going to be a married man, and he gonna be right there to give his blessing. That's the relationship that we've gained. But also along this line, just being able to learn business and work our ways to become an expert. Yeah. That's something that is dear to my heart. With my value and just overall entrepreneurship. So blessed to have my best man as a part owner of CEV Collection, and it's work. It's work. It's love, but it's work.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Say, man, I want to ask you one more thing before I let you up out of here, man, because I know that small businesses and business owning is huge for you, And I love that, you've taken on this mantle of, wanting to help, businesses. But I want to know, man, like your mindset, honestly, like no shade, man, but you got like you have like a mindset of a guy that's already kind of like out the league, but you're doing stuff that's out the league, in the league right now. You know what I'm saying? Like investing in businesses and things like that. It's like, how does that drive you, man? That's what I'm very curious to know. Why is that such a passion of yours to help people? Like most people when they're in the league, it's this and that, but I mean, anything, if you type in JAYLON Smith right now, the biggest thing that comes up right now is CEV and goddamn your MEI thing, man. And I think that's dope, man. Like the fact that you make plays on the field, but the things off the field are making just as impact. So I want to know, man, like why is that at your age? And I don't know, you tell them how old you are, but you're pretty younger than me. But why is that important to you right now? Like why is that important to you?
Man, I've always wanted to impact the world. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur my entire life, and I've learned from so many great people. I was the guy that I would seek mentors. Michael Lito, who's my business manager, founder and CEO of Rise Sports Advisors, and my cousin Eugene Parker, the late great agent, the agent for Emmitt Smith, and Deion Sanders, and Larry Fitzgerald, and on and on. Being able to learn from him, from the time I was 11 years old, I knew who my agent was going to be. Wow. So just being able to learn from so many people has gotten me this far. For me, I can't do it on my own. So I have an infrastructure and a team really set up to help me be able to focus and keep the main thing, which is having this gift to play for, and this blessing to play for the Dallas Cowboys and be able to play the linebacker position well, be a leader. I can't do it alone. So it's all about learning. It's all about educating yourself. I've always wanted to take the time to learn. And that's really what's helped. So, I mean, I encourage entrepreneurship. And from an MEI perspective, started the Minority Entrepreneurship Institute. Sorry if you hear some squeaking. My dog is like playing with his toy. But no, man. MEI Showcase, second annual year, is going to be July 10th, virtually at the Dallas Cowboys headquarters, raising $500,000 to give to 3 lucky and deserving, entrepreneurs, minority entrepreneurs, trying to help close this education and economic gap. So it's real, man. Just trying to help, trying to be that piece, to bring some positivity to this world. It's a lot going on.
Yeah.
But that's all, man. That's me. America's team. It's our year. And we're ready to work. We're ready to work.
Hey, I do got
West Coast.
ahead,
Can I
boss.
say something real quick? Just real quick. First of all, I appreciate you, man, for signing these shades. I always put that on the show.
Yes, sir.
I sure appreciate that, man. I really do. And another
See you
thing,
repping the Hot Boys, man. Yeah.
Hey, man, you already
West
know.
Coast now, man. And your boy Tank signed this one, so you signed my shades, and Tank signed this one. So like this is official Hot Boy gear today. But 2 things I want to also appreciate you for, man, is you took a picture with my boss, and they always talk about that. So I greatly appreciate that as well. The last thing, man, and this is from a Dallas Oak Cliff guy. Y'all not from Dallas, but I'm gonna tell you something I really appreciate.
Yeah. Hey, man, I'm going on year 5, man. I'm here.
now check this out, now, because I'm finna keep it all the way funky with you,
What you know about that cat? What you know about that catfish connection, man?
Man, come on, bro. You talk.
Yeah.
What you know about it? Now check this out.
I'm more of a Lisa's guy.
I gotta say this though, because
I'm more of a Lisa's. I'm
a cowboy in my own right.
Hey, West Coast. Next time you come out here, we going to Catfish Connection.
That's sure. What's up. That's what's up. Now check this out. I'm a Dallas Cowboy too, but my high school was called the Cowboys. All right. And one thing I appreciate about you, man, that's so old school. You stay clean, bro. Like, and it's
Come on, man.
Man, to the spat.
We was just talking about this, man.
Hey, and listen, it's a culture thing. And West Coast,
we was just talking about that too,
thing, bro. Like, it's that look good, play good, bro. You come out there with that gray spat, like, listen.
Yeah.
Those
just
of
talking
us
about that too.
Dallas, Carter, Oak Cliff, we
seen the great spat, bro.
Appreciate it.
Hey, spatting is an art, man. It's an art.
Man,
it is an art.
He
man.
brought it back. Like boys don't even see. He low key back. And it's the spat. And then he'll come out with the black spat. I say, y'all not seeing my boy, man. He done brought the spat back, man.
Hey, man, 2 things. Hey, last thing before I let you out of here. One thing, man, my boy Charles, man, my boy Boss Cowboy, man, hottest writer out there, man, right for the Landry hat and a whole bunch of folks, man. We got to get my boy a CEV code, man. He been down with the fam for a long time. It was really West Coast tripping. I should have been had the conversation with you, but you're here. So we got to get my boy, we got to get Boss Cowboy locked in because he's definitely family. And then my last thing, man, JAYLON, man, you was a Pro Bowler this year, man. You was at the Pro Bowl, man. If possible, can you tell me one thing, man? You was in a room with the best linebacker, a group of the best linebackers in the league. You know what I'm saying? And also, you was one of the youngest dudes in there, too. So I want to know, man, is there anything what was one thing you picked up from that room, man, just from being around all those linebackers?
I think just learning from all the older guys that have been there and experienced. I didn't recognize that we were going to get so much time to spend with our families. And we just really got a chance to relax and enjoy each other. All throughout the season, we're competitors, and you're grinding so hard to take care of your family and to win. And so in those moments when I was down in Orlando, it was just refreshing to understand that we all have the common, just the common love for the game.
That's what I love, man. Hey, man.
And I also got to take my nieces and little brothers to Disney World. That was dope.
Yeah, that's one thing I absolutely love about you, man. Is you always, like I said, man, you're very, very well insulated. You know what I'm saying? If I had to say one thing I would say about JAYLON is like he's very well insulated. You know what I'm saying? And one other thing I noticed about you is you don't make a lot of decisions on your own. Like you have a team. Like if it's the ME, you have a team for this. If it's CEV, you have a team for this. So it's like I like the fact that you obviously we all kings in our own right, but I like the fact that you appreciate and you also appreciate what other people bring. Because man, I ain't gonna lie, last year, man, I was just a lonely little blogger, man, that just loved the Cowboys, and I knew I was rocking the Cowboys. And if you said anything disrespectful about them Hot Boys, I was gonna be in your inbox, man. And man, and on the real, man,
That's love, man.
You know what I'm saying?
And congratulations on all of your guys' success. It's an amazing thing. I've been watching from the jump, man. So before we hop off, I just want to give a shout out, man. Monday we celebrated Memorial Day. My oldest brother, Jordan Smith, is a former veteran. He's a veteran and was in the Navy for about 6 years. We're sitting back talking about some of our core values, sipping on some Hotel Tango whiskey, some of his products. So just want to say shout out to all the veterans in the world, and thank you so much for serving for our country to make us safe.
Yeah. Hey, an older brother, you said you were the owner of say that one more time.
My oldest brother he's the director of sales for Hotel Tango whiskey. It's a veteran disabled spirits company.
Okay.
Out of Indianapolis, Indiana. Go ahead. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely, because I'm up here about the what it got to say. It's going down in the DM. It's go down.
Just moved into the Texas and Louisiana markets, man.
Yeah, man, because they likes to drink in Texas. So
Drake's gonna sell like
I think I might know a couple 100,000 people.
Oh, no doubt.
Yes, sir. I'm trying to get it all over Texas. Gin, rum, 3 different liqueurs. Look forward to all your local blended specs in the near future. Sure.
Okay. Well, shoot, man, I am a veteran myself. I was Air Force stationed in Spangdahlem, Germany for 4.5 years. They told me I was going to Minot, North Dakota. I told them I'm from L.A. It didn't work out. I had to get out. You know what I'm saying? That's just basically how it happened. You know what I'm saying? I did my 4 and I got out. You know what I'm saying? But hey, man, on the strength, we got to look out for each other. That's just what it is, man. So, if I slide in your DM, don't trip. You know what I'm saying? We definitely gonna get this thing popping. Well, hey, man, I just want to salute all 3 of you guys. I want to salute all 3 of you and let you know I truly appreciate you for coming on here, man. You guys already know we got a special code. Hey, Charles, what is the code for today?
CEV Tuesday. That's the code for today, man. You guys go to the website, cevcollection.com. You put in that code, it's 15% off. That's the highest % off right now. So y'all want to take advantage of and get that % off, man, just do that. CEV Tuesday.
CEV Tuesday.
Absolutely.
Clear,
sir.
Hey, you gotta see clear on Tuesday, baby.
Hey, my boy Boss Cowboy said on the commercial, he was like, on my commercial, I'd be like, and everybody's wearing. Boss Cowboy's like, everybody's wearing. I was like, yeah, I mean, well, if you're trying to be everybody, you're trying to be somebody, you need to ask for CVs on.
Hey, West Coast.
Go ahead, sir.
Hey, we're gonna send you a bottle, man, for next Tuesday, man.
Hey,
some of that HT, man.
Salute.
Hey, you gotta send Boss one too now. Come on now.
Boss said I'll pick mine up. Hey, Boss, let him know.
Boss, you gotta earn it, Boss.
Jaylen,
Boss, you gotta earn it.
What? What you mean? What you mean? He says hard, man. Say, hold on now, Jaylen, man. You
hey,
gonna
Boss.
pull out the
Hey,
Dallas
Boss. Hey, Boss. Send him the film.
We gonna lace you up, man. We gonna lace you up.
Hey, Boss, send him the
Clear
film.
our view, man. Clear our view.
Give me them old empty promises, man. I need the substance, my brother.
Hey, man, Boss said he gonna pick his up, man.
Y'all already show a lot of love, man. Much love.
Hey, man. I appreciate you guys for coming on here, man. You guys already know Tuesday is, like I said, CEV Tuesdays, man. Because why? Because there needs to be one day that you need to dedicate yourself to some type of improvement. You know what I'm saying? I picked Tuesday. Why? Because Wednesday and all the other days was taken. You know what I'm saying? So Tuesday sound like a good day. You know what I'm saying? So how about we do this? How about we just start with today? It's 8 o'clock. Oh, actually, it's 6:44 where I'm at right now. So that means I still got about 8 hours to do something that I can do to improve my life. What I'll probably do, I'll give my secret route. You know what I'm going to do? My wife's gonna ask me to do something, and you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do it the first time. That's what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? And that alone is gonna improve my life today. You know what I'm saying? So each person try something different, man. Hey, I appreciate you, Jalen, man. I appreciate you, Charles, and my brother.
Y'all be safe, man. Be safe.
Absolutely.
Blessings.
Absolutely, man.
All right, man. Hey, and I meant what I said about that Carter swag too, man. Like,
Oh yeah, he
that's
be spat it
old
up.
school.
He be spat it up. Hey, the cool thing about
Yeah.
Jalen Smith is like, you know how you be on, you got to create your player. Like he already come created. Like he already come like spat it up.
Yeah. And listen, man, it's a certain.
Like I know he do his Deion Sanders.
Listen,
like when he
I'm
lays
not
out.
insulting anybody when I say it's a culture thing. What I'm saying is, it's like when you come from certain places that's like look good, play good. He represent that. Like I saw one of my quarterbacks, Eric Moore. He was our '94 quarterback. He played for Oklahoma. He was on the show just a second ago. Man, it's like you appreciate it. It's like that's a guy that really kind of understand the culture where I'm from. You know, where it's like it was like Deion used to lay out all his stuff before he played, because it's psychological to some of us that grew up like that. You know what I mean? To where it's like everything got to be right, and then when everything is right, you also feel like you go play like that. So now it's a he take me back, man, and I appreciate his game. So
Yeah.
Cal getting ready to come on, y'all. So we still talking a lot of football. That's not it. Don't just get off because Jalen gone. We got a lot more football to talk about.
Yeah, man. And man, you know, one thing I like of, you know, I try to kind of tie it in, you know what I'm saying? Because man, I think a lot of people forget, man, that my boy Jalen Smith had that got that running back background, man. And it's like, man, what the Cowboys are about to have him do is you're basically having him being a running back on defense. Like that's why I feel it's gonna come natural. And what you're also doing is getting him away from the ickies and the ooey ooies. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? Let me get my boy Cal up in here.
Yeah. I just let him know we ready.
Oh yeah, Cal about to slide up in here right now. Hey man, we about to have a goddamn liquor sponsorship. Let's go, man.
Man. Boy, they was good too, man.
Yeah, they was. Like it's gonna make me feel cool like y'all right now, cause y'all is really cool right now.
And I like how they did that. They did that real smart. Like everybody had their CVs on it. Everybody was sipping, and they was like, by the way, my brother, he has a new growing liquor that, of course we're gonna let you sponsor it here.
Heck yeah,
of course.
Man.
What's up, Cal?
What's up with you, Cal? Let me see if he can hear me. Cal, can you hear me, big dog?
Yeah, I got you. You guys hear me?
Yes, sir. Turn it down.
How's it going?
It's good. Let me turn yourself down just a little, just a teeny bit.
Oh, I got you.
Where are you?
I'm a little loud, man.
It's CV Tuesday. Where are your CVs?
Dude, I don't have a pair yet. I'm so new to the Cowboys, and this COVID-19 stuff has thrown things so out of whack that I have my pair of CVs yet. I need to hit up Jalen and get me a pair. I've got some like dumb Oakleys in a car somewhere. I need to get me some CVEs and get in with the real stuff.
Hey, this is what you got to do when you get over there too, man. It's your boy West Coast Cal. Hey, man, this is what you're gonna do, man. You're gonna drop. I'm gonna let your name. I'm gonna let your name drop. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna let your name drop when you get him. Hey, man, my boy West Coast and boss said that they're gonna take care of him on some glass, and you got me. You know what I'm saying? And then when I go to the station, we gonna flip it back and forth. Each person get one name drop. How does that?
Hey, I like that. I like that a lot. And hey, and I'm a big sunglasses guy, so I'll wear them day in and day out. Is the even I heard you guys at the beginning of the show. You said the sunglasses at night is still it's a mood. It's something that you can go by. So yeah. I'm right there with you.
But he also have clear eyes, and it's true though. Like if you bring up West Coast, you're gonna get a major discount because I did too. Like
so
you know,
I'm gonna do it then.
He should give you autograph ones, like because obviously. If you come on a couple of times and say, "Hey, I have CVs," let's go.
Yeah, got you. But hey, while we on the subject of linebackers, man, let's just kind of stay there for a little bit, man.
Let's go.
If you don't mind, man. If you don't, and then we're gonna slide into that draft. I know you guys remember his voice. I was thinking I was like, when I first heard you guys, I was like, and I'm pretty sure you get this from a lot of them, like Kyle's voice is kind of, I was like, it's
40-ish.
Not even 40. It's like, it's very like I envision when you were a kid, you used to do like movie trailers, like coming soon on a, you have that mood setting voice, man. It's amazing.
Yeah, yes, very voiceover. Like you go get paid regardless.
So,
Well, I appreciate it. And you make jokes about me like being a kid and kind of doing things like that. I used to, so when I was growing up, my dad was a big NASCAR fan.
okay.
And I had these, whenever I was a kid, I wouldn't get the Hot Wheel cars. I get the actual like NASCAR, like cast.
Yeah.
I'd get a camcorder and I would broadcast the races whenever I was like 4 or 5 years old. And so that's kind of how it got started, was way back then, but it took me up until about like high school or so to realize that, hey, this is something I really want to do. And people were like, oh, well, you've got the voice for it. And I've heard it ever since, which is a lot of fun.
Hey, that's dope, man, because, you know, people be wondering why Steph Curry can just, like, launch 5 and 15 and 20 3-pointers and they all go in. And that's because he was put on, you know, he's using his talents, you know, and the gifts that God gave him, and he's maximizing them. So it's like, you know, and that definitely, you know, exactly what you're doing. I like that you recognize that calling. You know, sometimes, man, when you're young, you saying I want to do this, I want to do that, but you know, for the most part, have always known what you've done, so it doesn't surprise me. You know, man, you look. I ain't gonna lie, I got a haircut today, but I still feel that I still think you're younger than me. You know what I'm saying? But a guy, you know, can elevate, and that's dope, man. That's what happens when you can be focused. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Cal for being focused and getting through.
No doubt. A lot of people get kind of upset whenever they hear how old I am. It's kind of interesting how it ended up working that way.
Well, how old are you?
24.
Yeah, but you work for it. You went to school for it. You've been training.
Yeah.
Same thing that happened with Brianna. Like we talked about that yesterday.
No doubt.
Like, you know, when you know that you're born to do something, you put in the work and you go through the education and you go through the training, you're qualified.
Yeah.
It's not your fault that you knew what you was gonna do since high school.
Hey, Cal, you know what we call those people? You know what we call those people? It's a French word. It's derivative of the Caucasus, the Raucous Mountain or something. It is called you say it like this. You call it a hater. You know what I'm saying? A hater.
Hater.
A hater. You know what I'm saying? It's French though. Remember, it's French.
So, but I've got to say it like that from now on, though, right?
It's French.
Hater.
It's a hater. You know what I'm saying? A hater. I mean, I know that's what you call it, a hater. You know what I'm saying? But hey, man, let's get into some.
We can talk about linebackers.
Let's get into these. Let's talk about these linebackers, man, because I just had JAYLON Smith on here, man, and they're both my linebackers, 55 and 54, are in the news. You know what I'm saying, over the last couple of weeks. So I want to get your thoughts on both of them, man. I think LVE is a little bit more pressing, but I put JAYLON Smith's number first. So we're gonna do JAYLON Smith. All right. I want to know, man. There's been some talks of JAYLON Smith possibly, you know, moving, or, you know, getting allocated more to like a pass rusher, man. You're in the building, man. I want to know, what can you tell us without losing your job? I want some secrets. I want some secrets. Don't hold out. You knew what you came here for.
I'll give you everything that I can. And I will say that the thought process is there. And you'll be there whenever you have a new defensive coordinator and a new system kind of coming to play. This isn't Rod Marinelli anymore. It's not for sure going to be 4-3. It's going to be a lot of 3 down linemen, even though your base is probably going to be that 4-3. You're going to have a lot of 3 down linemen, and maybe JAYLON Smith with his hand up. You might see DeMarcus Lawrence with his hand up a little bit. So I think it's something that is going to be played around with a lot during training camp. Hopefully we end up having a training camp here in the next couple of months, and you can kind of start working into that new system, and you're going to see a hybrid look. Now, Michael Nolan's talked about it. Mike McCarthy's talked about it. The entire defense has really kind of alluded to the fact of shifting to that multiple defense rather than just staying in a 4-3, staying in our system. We're going to play the system that best fits our players. And I think it best fits JAYLON Smith to run downhill. I mean, coverage isn't his strong point. That's where Leighton Vander Esch comes in. That's where Sean Lee comes in. It's where even Joe Thomas, I think, could come in potentially as a road. I think JAYLON Smith is better whenever he's running on hill. He's going for the straight line speed, the ability to read a ball carrier out of the backfield is something that I think JAYLON Smith will bring to the table more so maybe as a, like you kind of said, maybe as like a 3-4 outside linebacker, pass rushing outside linebacker sort of role. I wouldn't be surprised to see that switch made, but I don't think it would be something that's concrete, black and white. I think it's going to be something that is just a play here, a play there. Let's see how it flows. If it flows as well as we think it would on paper, then all of a sudden you're cooking with gas.
Can I ask you a question? If you have to, if it's like a number, I want to do a number, right? on a season when at the end of 2021, I will say that we were in, you say the defense is 3-4, 4-3. Where do you think the split is going to be? Like, is it going to be like, you think it's going to be at the end? This is the end of 2020. This is 2021. You know, we everybody's partied out because we won the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? And then you got to look back. You look back on it. You're going to say this portion of the defense, it was about this amount of defense we ran, this 3-4. What number would you say? I'm trying to figure out where we're going here.
Yeah, I would probably lean more toward 3-4 because, I mean, I'm starting to see at least the thought process. Now, there are a couple things that throw a wrench into this because you see some of the additions that make sense of going to a 3-4, but there's also a very heavy defensive end room right now that bodes more toward a 4-3. So I think it would probably be 4-3, 65%, and then you've got 35% for the 3-4. But that's just based off of guesses right now because we haven't seen how this scheme is going to be thrown into things and how exactly Mike Nolan's going to attack really this roster. And we haven't even seen a practice with the new coaching staff and the roster together. So it's all speculation by this point, but in the opinion of, or at least building the consensus around the fact that you've got maybe 8 potential defensive ends that are going to contend to be on the roster makes me think that a 4-3 is more plausible than a 3-4, but maybe some of those guys switch to an outside linebacker role and you go to that 3-4 defense, but I still think I would lean 4-3 the majority of the time.
Yeah, and we've had obviously Mike Fish on, and then we had Jesse Holly on last week.
My boy Jesse.
And they had like opposing views on LVE. You're the tiebreaker. So
okay.
I was
no
asking
pressure.
Mike, I said, Mike,
no pressure at all.
Shouldn't we, and especially you should know because you spend so much time in the off season and looking at candidates. So you're the true tiebreaker. Should we invest into insurance since we have Sean Lee who has injury prone issues, LVE, and how do you test a neck, right? And then even Gilford, right? Who's might be, I'm not insulting him, but he's starting to appear like he has glass issues. Maybe it was just a fluke year, but when it's happening back to back, you have to consider it. Should we invest into more depth, especially with the 2 extra picks that we got from the CBA, like a Malcolm Smith and Clay Matthews? Like, break the top, please.
I think you should. And the sole reason off of that is because of the fact that you still aren't sure, as certain as you can be, that Leighton Vander Esch is ready to get back on the field. You can be as certain as you want. It doesn't matter until he goes out and he hits a person. It's different. It's different to say, hey, on paper, you're ready to go play NFL football. And then actually going to play NFL football, especially at a high level, which Leighton Vander Esch doesn't want to play anything lower than a high level, it's different. It's not going to be the same until he actually gets out there, gets on the gridiron, and hits somebody, with the lack of a better term. If he goes out and lays the wood, then we'll know whether or not the neck is going to sustain itself over the course of the season. Even in Luke Gifford's point, it's the same thing. He was ready to come back. Well, he got hurt again. It could be the same thing with Leighton Vander Esch. And you asked me the question right at the beginning. You said, how do you test a neck?
Right.
This is not what I don't think any medical professional would want to hear. It's not what any Cowboys fan would want to hear, but you test the neck by playing the guy. Like, you test it by clearing him, saying everything's ready to go, and then putting him out on the field and seeing if he gets hurt again. That's a terrible way to look at it. Leighton Vander Esch is such a great guy, and you want him to continue improving as an ascending player, which he was prior to him getting hurt. He was on his way to being one of the best linebackers in all of football. And if he's able to stay healthy, you're great. You're golden. You've got 2 of the better linebackers in the NFL, one of the best linebacking duos arguably in the NFL, and you've got some young guys coming up. I think, at least in this draft, the picks didn't fall to the Cowboys enough to take a chance and maybe pick a linebacker. I think the thought process was there. There were guys like Akeem Davis-Gaither, Logan, I'm forgetting the guy's name from Wyoming, Logan Wilson, who was a linebacker in the middle rounds that was potentially a target. he ended up going off the board before the Cowboys had another pick. And so I think the thought process was there to potentially go linebacker and to add some of that. They ended up doing so with Francis Bernard out of Utah in an undrafted free agency. But overall, I think you should start at least looking in that direction, but I don't think a move would be made until maybe 2021.
So just the B part, just real quick, just to comment on potential assets like Clay Matthews and Malcolm Smith, because we beat that drum hard, because we are of the opinion that insurance is absolutely necessary. Like, because they obviously built the front. They built the front to allow the linebackers to play free. But we feel as if, West Coast and I talk about this a lot, one domino goes out and you kind of lose your 3-4 plans. Like, so if LVE goes out on the middle linebacker, now the plans that you might have had for a designated pass rusher through JAYLON, now it's switched because now he has to go back to linebacker. It's like why is it only a few of us that's pounding the drum? You, Jesse Holly, West Coast, and myself and others. It's a few others that's like, insurance to me seem like it's something that should be more priority than what it is.
And I think this might also be maybe a side effect of kind of what our society is going through, and the fact that these coaches actually haven't seen these players in person since March, since the middle of March, really. They haven't actually had person-to-person contact. So since Leighton Vander Esch has been cleared, Mike McCarthy and Mike Nolan haven't had a chance to look at him in person and see exactly what he's thinking and talk to him. I'm sure they've had plenty of conversations over Zoom, just like you and I are having right now, but it's different seeing a player go out there and actually go through drills and see how he moves and compare it to what they've seen on tape as well. But I think it also depends on how that coaching staff feels about their linebacking core. Are you thinking that Jaylon Smith, Joe Thomas, Luke Gifford, along with Sean Lee, are enough to where you don't need a Clay Matthews or a Malcolm Smith or somebody else to come in there and be a part of that linebacking room? Maybe you have more faith in Francis Bernard. I mean, this coaching staff went out and got this guy. He was one of the first phone calls following the 7th round of the draft, is hey, I want to go out and get this guy, a player that a lot of people had as a top 20 or a top 200, top 200, top 250 player in the draft, didn't get picked. So they went after him. They snagged him. Maybe they think he has a chance to make the roster and be good enough to provide some rotational help. So I think it's really kind of the opinion. That's why you're saying that some people are beating the drum, some people are not. I'm on the kind of in the middle. I would lean toward getting insurance because I'm just that kind of way, because I've seen how things work in the past, where one domino falls and things don't go your way. Then all of a sudden your season's a lost cause. And I don't want that to happen, because I have a lot of expectations moving into 2020. You have to kind of play that factor, though, of what does the coaching staff think? Do they like these guys that are already in the building, and are they better than who would you go and get?
Okay. Can I put one more, just a little bit of pressure on you? You spend an entire offseason scouting linebackers. So do you believe that the depth that we have is good enough? Your opinion?
I think right now it is. And it's very, I mean, it's subjective. That's what insurance is you're getting a guy just in case things go wrong. I don't think right now you can say things have gone wrong. It's just the fact that if they go wrong, then your depth might have to struggle a little bit. I think there's 8 players right now that are going to be on the roster, the 55-man, whenever training camp and the preseason come to an end. I think there's 8 linebackers that'll potentially make the roster. I think those 8 linebackers could potentially give enough effort, or not even just effort is the wrong word. Everybody's giving effort. It's the NFL, but give enough production and give enough stability in that room to provide Sean Lee, Jaylon Smith, Leighton Vander Esch enough of backup help to where they're going to be successful. So I would say yes, right now I'm confident in the linebacking core, but at the same time, I'm right there with you. It's still skeptical just because of the injury issues that you've had. And Sean Lee, he had a great year last year and he showed that he's got some left in the tank, but he's had his injury concerns too. Don't worry, or don't forget about that factor of it all. There could be 3 players by the end of it all, even 4 if you wanted to throw Jaylon Smith in there, that could be having some issues. So, I mean, I'm right there with you of maybe going out and getting a guy, but I think right now they're pretty set on staying put.
Yeah, I feel like the Cowboys might be waiting for, I call it the second free agency, and that's the day after the last preseason game, and that's when literally you're going to have, players that you actually have film on, versus rookies. I mean, everybody loves rookies, but I mean, what you really love is a rookie with film. You know what I'm saying? So, when that second free agency happens, I think that's when the Dallas Cowboys, because right now, I think it's two positions I think they should go look at in that second free agency. I think wide receiver is one of them, and I also think that that linebacker is also one of them. Tight end and possibly even tight end. I got to see how the reason why I didn't say tight end is only because I believe Jarwin can do it, but it's just about how often in this offense. Like if I see this offense and we're in a whole bunch of 12 personnel, then absolutely I'm jumping on the bandwagon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's like if he's only
McCarthy ran a lot of 12 personnel in Green Bay. Now I don't know if he's going to do the same thing here. Kellen Moore likes to run that 11 personnel, as we found out last year. So
absolutely,
it could go either way. It just depends on how much Mike McCarthy has his hands on this offense.
Yeah, so I mean that's a phenomenal point. So that's why I feel like when that second group happens, those are kind of positions where you can find like some jewels. Like you can find a really really fast fourth receiver. You know what I'm saying? That man, you're gonna be on the field 12 times a year. Can you be fast and run straight? Because that's what they usually do in fourth and fifth receivers. You know what I'm saying? So you're looking for one of those guys.
Whenever you've got a draft class. You got a draft class as deep at wide receiver as this past one was. There's going to be some of those that fall through the cracks. Maybe not rookies, but maybe even veterans that fall through the cracks, and somebody's going to get picked up, and somebody's going to have a good season.
Yeah, because think about this: there's some third and fourth receivers that might get cut because of some rookies that stand out. And teams, one of my first interviews I ever did was with I always say his name wrong, but my boy Cromartie, and from the Jets, cornerback, and he said, man, West Coast, the NFL is not about getting smarter. It's not about getting faster. It's about getting cheaper. You know what I'm saying? It's about getting max product and paying it for a cheap price. He was like, so because of that, young guys will always have an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because they're cheaper. It's cheaper to have that younger guy than it is that older guy. But hey, kind of talking about some of these young guys, man. We had the NFL draft this past. I was supposed to go to it in Las Vegas, but obviously it got because everything everybody was stuck at home. So I watched your show along with mine, and man, we talking about wide receiver already. I just want to go through each one of these picks, man, and kind of just give. I just want to ask two general questions, and that is from an organizational standpoint, what was their thought process behind this, and then what are your thoughts on this pick? You know? So we're gonna start off with
and can I ask one general question before we run through each one?
Shoot.
No. Go ahead. We'll run through them quick.
All right,
go ahead.
All right, so boom, bam, de boo. All right, so first we're gonna start off with our 17th pick, man, and that man is my boy CeeDee Lamb, who is wearing the 88. If you want to talk about it, I know it's a very touchy subject. I know it's touchy. You know what I'm saying? I know it's touchy. You know what I'm saying? If you don't mind speaking on it, I want to know, where were you standing when you found out CeeDee Lamb, was going to wear the 88? Like, where were you standing? Where was the first thought that came to your head?
I was right here. I was sitting right here because we're working from home, of course. So this was my draft central. I had like a TV on the other side, and I had everything kind of hooked up and rigged up. I had the fan equipment all in here. It was nuts. But that was the first kind of thought process. And even after he was selected, we even had the conversation of, hey, is he going to wear number 88? What number is he going to wear? He can't wear 2. Is he going to wear 10? Because 10's going to be open since Tavon Austin was gone. And I believe he wore that number earlier in his career, maybe high school or middle school or something. And then he also liked DeAndre Hopkins a lot. So we didn't know if maybe he was going to wear 10 for DeAndre Hopkins, but he ended up going with the 88, and I kind of like it. I like it. It's confidence level. Apparently, and it came out this past week. I forgot who wrote the report, or else I would give credit here, but somebody came out and said he wasn't forced into 88. Jerry didn't actually go into him and say, hey, you want to wear 88? Because I want you to wear 88. He said, let me carry on the tradition. Let me put this number on my back and on the front of my jersey, and let me carry on the tradition that is the 88 for Dallas Cowboys receivers. So I like that a lot in terms of receiver, a rookie coming in. He knows what kind of impact he could have on this organization and on that offense. And if he's got that kind of confidence already, it's swagger to him. I'm for it, man. And I was pumped to have the pick already. And now I'm even more excited because he's got some swagger to him.
Hey, man, I got to ask you a real question real quick, man. Why the hell we just draft this dude, man? We just paid Amari Cooper $100 million. What happened? I want to know, man.
I'll tell you right now.
I forgot to tell you, I'm gonna give you one real question too.
Okay.
So them the two softies, then I'm gonna give you one real. Why the hell we pay $100 million for a wide receiver and then go draft this dude? He gonna be a number one somewhere else.
Listen here, you want to put up 40 burgers is why. That's why you do it, because you want to put up 40 spots and find a way to win football games with your offense. You make your strength stronger. You had one of the best offenses, if not the best offense in the NFL last year. The best player available, the best wide receiver on the entire board for me, for the Cowboys, for a lot of draft experts out there, fell to you. This is a guy you're saying let me put it this way, West Coast, just so that way you know. You're basically getting, and this is a lot of pressure on CeeDee Lamb. This is a ton of pressure, and I don't want to put this much pressure on him, but you're basically getting DeAndre Hopkins, and you're throwing him in there with Amari Cooper.
Jeez,
that's kind of what it is. You're putting Amari Cooper with DeAndre, the potential of a DeAndre Hopkins. Let me throw potential in there. I don't want to get everybody too worked up, but you're throwing Amari Cooper, a potential DeAndre Hopkins, and Michael Gallup, who's ascending more than everybody even thinks he's ascending. Exactly. Yeah. You're not going to, like, what defense is going to be able to stop?
No defense.
It doesn't matter.
I mean,
it's going to happen. Look at who won the Super Bowl, who was in the Super Bowl. The San Francisco 49ers, the Kansas City Chiefs. Neither team, maybe with the exception of the 49ers, was known really for their defense. I know the 49ers had Bosa and Sherman. They had a defense.
They were frauds.
Pretty damn good. They're pretty damn good at defense. But you look at Kansas City, they were not known for defense, and they still won a Super Bowl title. I think that's kind of the thought process that went into it.
Man, Kansas City, I was so funny because when Kansas City was playing that game, I was looking at the, because, we were not playing, so I was still in the mode of watching film on certain days. So I was like, man, I'm going to just watch the film. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to break because Jerry didn't get us in the Super Bowl, I'm not going to break it for me. So I'm watching the film, man, and I'm thinking like, man, if Kansas City can hold Derrick Henry under 100 yards, they're going to beat these dudes, bro.
Yep.
And honestly, like, that was like the key to it. Like you're absolutely right, man. Like, Kansas City really didn't have to play defense until they had to play defense. And that's almost how it is in the NFL. Like, you really want your defense off the field as much as possible.
I wanted to ask you a quick question that's going to strike off one of these draft choices.
Okay.
So it perfectly led into my question that I want to say first.
Okay.
I know about spending a lot of time in the draft because I actually wrote a draft guide and an off-season guide book, right? So I spent a lot of time on this. I'm gonna want to get your autograph on that. We'll talk about that later. But but every one of us have pet cats that we felt like got away. Like all of us, when we spend a lot of time. What pick did you kind of scratch your head at because some people were sitting there? I could tell you mine. It was round 7 when we passed up on Sullivan or Moss from LSU. That hurt my heart. What was yours?
It's funny that you said round 7 because I thought the first 6 picks for the Cowboys were kind of exactly what I wanted to happen. They were great. I mean, all the way through. CeeDee Lamb, Trayvon Diggs, Nabil Gallimore, Reggie Robinson, Bradley and Tyler Biadasz. It was all great.
Great.
And then we got to round 7. And we got to round 7, and by that point the draft was already made. We were on cloud 9. We'd been broadcasting for 8 straight hours. We were kind of ready to go home, kind of, even though we were home, I guess, from our own studios. But there was kind of the thought process going into we inched closer and closer to that 7th round pick. We thought, okay, what about a quarterback here? Because Andy Dalton wasn't there yet. Andy Dalton was not a thought process right then. At that very moment, Cooper Rush, Clayton Thorson were your 2 quarterbacks behind Dak Prescott. So our thought process was, okay, there's some really good quarterbacks here. And mine was Anthony Gordon out of Washington State, a Senior Bowl guy, broke tons of Pac-12 records, broke records from Jared Goff, Aaron Rodgers, all sorts of those, Josh Rosen, all of those former quarterbacks in the Pac-12. And he broke all their records passing-wise. Now, it was a Mike Leach offense up at Washington State. That throws a little bit of a risk into it. Look at what Jacksonville has had with Minshew Mania out of the same program just a year prior. Anthony Gordon comes in and he throws an incredible number of touchdowns and yards over the course of the collegiate season. Saw him at the Senior Bowl. I liked what I heard from him, liked when I talked to him back and forth. I thought he was going to be the pick. I started hearing kind of rumblings from some of the inside sources around the team, and they were saying, okay, it's probably going to be a quarterback. And then they took a quarterback, but it was Ben DiNucci. And it was one of those questions of like, who?
Right.
Wait, what? Like, we've studied 500 players. Who is Ben DiNucci? Who is this guy?
Right.
And of course, out of James Madison and a great player.
Yeah.
Whenever you look at it, look at the
Right.
film, but we were super confused as to why he was the pick instead. And that was probably the one. I wouldn't even call Anthony Gordon a pet cat because he was close enough to be a selection, but I could have understood if they went elsewhere, like if they went to a different position, linebacker, tight end, etc. I would have been okay with that. But it was the fact that they took a different quarterback and not Anthony Gordon that was kind of confusing to me. But now I get it because I've seen Ben DiNucci and he's got a lot of upside.
Good. So I'm now we back in orders. We go cross round 7 off. So Diggs. So obviously, you know, the way that I was seeing it, I think first 3 picks, I would say maybe even Tyler, right? Really had low key first round grades on him. You know, I want to get your thoughts on the Diggs and what does that mean to the other corners that sit in here? Because obviously that's how we go tie it all together. Diggs, the pick and Diggs, and what does that mean to the other guys of Wooze, Jordan Lewis, Anthony Brown, and all the other guys, Darryl, all of them.
Corner was the one position going into the draft that I felt like you needed to double dip on because going into it, there was only one player past 2020 that was under contract, and that's Anthony Brown, who you re-signed this offseason. So I think you needed to select at least one corner. Selecting 2 was a plus, and we'll get to Reggie Robinson in just a second. But Trayvon Diggs was another one of those guys that was like, whenever you started day 2, you were saying, man, in a perfect world, if Trayvon Diggs fell, but that's not possible. That's not going to happen.
Right.
He's not going to fall to 50. Right. It's not happening. He's got a 1-2 grade on everybody's board, including our own. And then all of a sudden you get to pick 45, pick 46. You're saying, okay, well, this is looking like it might happen because you know who's up in front of you. Then the Bears ended up selecting twice right in front of you. And I thought, okay, maybe this is where he goes. Well, he didn't. And by that point, we were saying, okay, it's Trayvon Diggs. There's no way this is not Trayvon Diggs because we had also heard kind of the contact that they had with him and the conversations that they had as a coaching staff. And he fits the Mike Nolan blueprint for corner. He's a long, lengthy, athletic corner. He's good in coverage. He's great in run defense. If you need to, he can chase down a ball carrier. He's got everything you need. Plus, he forces turnovers. And that's something that Mike Nolan, of course, is really high on. He said it earlier in the offseason. Hey, if you're a corner and you don't force turnovers, then I'm going to throw it that way because I'm not scared of a pick 6. Then I'm throwing it your direction. Trayvon Diggs is one of those guys that can score as a defender. He had 2 touchdowns for Alabama as a defender last year. One was a 99-yard fumble recovery. The other one was like a 43, 44-yard interception return for a touchdown. So he's had those plays. He's shown that he can do it. And he's got great film to back it up.
Yeah, and one thing I love about him, man, is he's a Nick Saban corner, man. And one thing I love about Nick Saban DBs and stuff, man, is them boys have been coached hard. You know what I'm saying? Like Nick Saban's expectations.
Tested.
Yes, you know what I'm saying? And because and that's one. I ain't trying to give no one credit over the next, but one thing I will say about that SEC is like the level of competition each week is more consistent. You know what I'm saying? Now, you can take that and say if it's a better conference or if that's – and to be honest with you, some people get mad at me, but I actually say that about the NFC East. You know what I'm saying? Like, they said, oh, the NFC East is the worst division. I'm like, no, it's not really. Why? Because, bro, literally, if you don't improve yourself in the East, you will not be good next year. Like, it doesn't, you have to, the East is not one of those divisions where you can just keep putting out the same team every single year. Like the Patriots, they basically put the same team out there almost every year. You know what I'm saying? Just switch out here or there. But with the Dallas Cowboys, with the Giants, with Philly, with Washington, we don't care about Washington, but you really got to make each year in free agency and draft, you got to hit on somebody. Because our division, the competitiveness is there every week. That's why our division games, our division games are never blowouts. They're never blowouts. And that's one thing I love about my boy Diggs coming out of that Alabama is, he is, coming out of Nick Saban, man, he teach them boys. I watched this documentary and I've talked to a couple guys that have come out of that system too. And man, he just says Nick Saban almost he coaches his DBs like a wide receiver coach, the responsibilities that they're required to know. It's like my boy over there, Real Truth, out there in Dallas. He does a DB coach, and he does crazy stuff like have the DBs running wide receiver drills before they line up. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, that's the type of stuff that you get with Nick Saban. And my boy told me, he's like, one thing about a Nick Saban DB is two things he said. He said, one, we're coached hard, and then two, and you said it, but you literally said what I have written down right here. We become playmakers when we get the ball in our hands. Like there's nothing else. You know what I'm saying? It ain't no we're instantly become playmakers. So I mean that's something I like about one thing I like about Diggs, man. I wanna know, because I told you I was gonna give you one question that you'd be like, I don't know West Coast. And my goal is my goal is at some point to be like, West Coast, I can't answer that. All right, I just can't go down that street. Okay, I want to know, like, with the thoughts of a Cheetah Bay Awuzie going to a safety, like, how does this Diggs play? Because I believe Cheetah Bay, I mean, I know a lot of people don't give him love, but if you go look at his film, man, Cheetah Bay does his job, man. Like 19 pass breakups.
Mm-hmm.
The kid, 19 pass breakups. Like nobody's getting interceptions. So I can't be like, oh, he doesn't get nobody's getting their hands on the ball. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a coaching thing. You know what I'm saying? But I want to know, does this Diggs, if Diggs is able to play, does that kind of help the Cheetah Bay Awuzie? Or I mean, what are your thoughts on that? And how do you think that's going to go ahead?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because I went back and I've been watching cornerbacks this past week and doing some film study on what our corners looked like last year and exactly what 2020 would look like, depending on where those corners end up playing. I think Trayvon Diggs is a starter. I think he will come in and start right away. I think he's that good of a player. I think he fits the mold so well. I think he's somebody that will come in and make an impact. With Cheeto, I'm kind of right there with you, West Coast, and the fact that he makes plays and he does his job. He's not anything flashy. It's kind of like Byron Jones, but I wouldn't necessarily compare the two. They're different players, and I wouldn't necessarily say that Cheeto is just as good, but he's not too far off. Like Byron Jones is incredible. He's going to be tough to replace. I think Cheeto would be the guy who might be able to replace him, though, and so the thought process of moving him to safety has more to do with his size and his build than it does his playmaking ability, because I think he has the playmaker ability to be a starter. I think him, Jordan Lewis, Anthony Brown, Trayvon Diggs, I think those are your top four corners any day of the week. And I know there's Daryl Worley in there. I know you've got Maurice Kennedy that came in, CJ Goodwin. There's other guys that are going to be rotated in. Don't get me wrong. I would almost rather put Daryl Worley back at safety, even though he's a little bit bigger. Yeah. He's a little bit bigger. He's played safety in the NFL. He started a majority of his games, and I think that might be the conversation that's had, and that's what training camp's going to bring around. I think whenever you have options, it's better than not having any options. And I think Cheeto's an option. I think Daryl Worley's an option. You got to play it out, see who goes and meshes better with that group. By the end of it, then you have a better secondary than you start.
Because, I mean, at the end of the day, which do you rather want? A guy who's never played safety or a guy who's played safety in the NFL?
Yeah, because Daryl played a lot of safety.
And but I think about this, like everybody's running three wide. You gotta have three corners. Like if we're up here saying that CeeDee Lamb is gonna be our third wide receiver or Michael Gallup possibly our third wide receiver, then there had better be a team out there saying, well, this guy's gonna be our third corner, or we just go keep throwing it to that third dude. So I want to
and real quick too to jump in just real quick. Because from the draft, we were saying right before the show, it's not just the Cowboys that greatly improved their offense. I think everybody's in a shootout with Kansas City. And just
Marcus, you and I are on the same page here, my friend. That was exactly kind of where I was about to go with it. And I didn't mean to
go ahead.
Off there by any means. I was trying to add to your point. But
go.
But looking at slot receivers in the NFC East, just in the offseason, you've got Golden Tate with New York. You've got, of course, Terry McLaurin with Washington. And you add Jalen Reagor to that Philadelphia mix. You need a good slot corner. You got to have a slot corner that's going to be able to cover somebody. And whether that's Jordan Lewis or Cheeto Awuzie, it's going to be odd man out from there of who's going to be in the rotation. Whoever your best slot corner is going to see a lot of playing time because they're uberly important going into this season just based off of who was added as the slot receivers in the division.
All right, well, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Remember, I told you I was gonna ask you that one question for each person that you can. West Coast, I don't know if I can answer.
I'm starting to think this is not just one question. I think it's like every other question,
West
or
Coast,
maybe every question.
West Coast, I can't answer that question. I can't answer that question. I want to get on. Hey, my boy Jesse Holly straight up told me, West Coast, I can't. I'm still trying to get on the yacht. West Coast, I can't answer that question. Like he straight told me on the show. I want to know, man. I'm playing Madden 20. I'm setting up my roster. I say, hey, Brad, hey, Cal, I want to know, man. Who should I start? Who are my starting corners? Who are your starting corners right now today? I'm setting up my Madden team.
Mm-hmm.
And you said Diggs. You already said Diggs.
I would put Cheeto there, and then I'd put Jordan Lewis. Those would be my three.
So can I ask you a question? Because them names don't need no explanation because them is the exact same three names we said. All right. So can I ask you a question?
See, that's a scout.
Does anybody then say to themselves, why didn't we resign Anthony Brown?
That's a good question. And it goes back to the depth that was talked about earlier. You talked about depth at defensive end and linebacker. It's the same thing. You got to rotate these guys. You got to have guys to plug in to where if you throw Anthony Brown on a bigger receiver on the outside, I don't even really know who I would even say in the NFC East, but if you throw him up against a Julio Jones or somebody, you can be okay. You might not necessarily end up giving up a touchdown, but you're not going to give up, or you're not gonna feel like he's on an island over there. You have depth, you have those rotational type players that you're able to put in those situations and have some confidence in. Just because you have more than three good corners doesn't mean that's a bad thing. I mean, the fact that you're going to have probably six corners, all of which have either had NFL experience or have an extremely high upside with Reggie Robinson and Trayvon Diggs, I think the corner room this year is better than maybe some of the corner rooms we've had over the past decade. And I think that's something that's exciting moving forward because you've got three young guys with Anthony Brown that was re-signed, the only guy that was re-signed prior to the draft. And then you've got those two draft picks to add with it. I think that's why you re-sign Anthony Brown with some stability and some depth at a position you needed both at.
Shoot, man. So I love it because we
so
already
now.
2 out of 2.
I feel so much better now.
We 2 out of 2, and we already got 2 people that we believe are gonna be playing in 2020.
Common sense speak, you just want to go to bed.
Yeah. All right, so man. So in that third round, we finally got on that defensive line. We got my boy Neville. My boy Buddha calls him Buddha, put the name in the comment box. He got a cool nickname for him. So drop it in the comment box, and I got it, man. My boy.
If it's good enough, I'll use it on one of the shows because I'm looking for nicknames. So I'm kind of looking for that.
I know what it is. He calls him Nevillin.
Ooh, I like that.
Nevillin Gallimore.
Got it. There it is.
Hey, that's
that.
Hey, that's for my boy Buddha Badass too, man. Shout out to Buddha Badass. Hey, we had Nevillin.
Buddha love him.
Yeah. So my boy. Yeah, he do too. So. When we got, I'm looking at my defensive line since 2018, I think it was, we got put out by the L.A. Rams. I've been yelling, Dallas Cowboys, we got to do something with this defensive line. 74 yards. I think I saw with my own eyes, my very own eyes. I seen them, and then I seen 2018, the exact same situation. Then I also saw, 2019, the 4 top running teams in the NFL go to the playoffs. I seen that. I'm like, God dang, you might want to stop the running in 2020. And then we drafted this guy. My boy Gilmore, and it's crazy because, I had seen mocks where I seen a mock where he went late in the first, but I've seen probably more mocks of him going in the second round than probably absolutely anything. So it's like, when the Cowboys grabbed him up, I want to know, man, after we went and signed Poe, after we went and signed my boy McCoy, and we still have action at my boy Hot Boy Woods, Antoine Woods out there, and Tyrone Crawford, man. What was the thoughts behind bringing in my boy Nevillin?
I love Neville Gallimore as a pick, and the thing is with that defensive line, and this also could have answered the CeeDee Lamb question that you threw at me earlier, West Coast, was the Cowboys did such a good job of adding talent in free agency, kind of cheaper talent than you would normally think with a guy like Dontari Poe, Gerald McCoy. You keep Antoine Woods and his rights on the team as well. You add some of that talent enough so to where you can go best player available. You don't have to necessarily sit and draft need every single time your pick comes around, you could go with that best player available. And I think that happened with round number 3 because, like you said, Neville Gallimore is a top 50 player in the draft. I had him as 49, I think, on my book. I think Pro Football Focus had him as 40, and he goes to 82, and you pick him up at 82. Are you kidding me? That's the kind of player you're getting at 82. This is a guy who, and I know it's a lot, and I said this earlier on Talking Cowboys, but it's a lot of impact from all 3 of your first-round picks immediately with Neville Gallimore, Trayvon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb. I think all 3 are going to make an impact, and I think the most surprising one is probably going to be Neville Gallimore because I think Diggs is a starter. I think, and we all know CeeDee Lamb's going to start. But with Neville Gallimore, I think he could be a starter by the end of the year too. Because, and it's nothing against Dontari Poe or Gerald McCoy. I think it's the fact that he's an ascending player. He's still learning. He's coming out of Canada. He grew up in Canada, moved down to Texas, ended up playing some basketball, I think, in there. He uses that athleticism, by the way, on his film. You can see the way that he runs sideline to sideline. He's one of the best lateral moving defensive tackles in the entire draft, right up there with Ross Blacklock, Derek Brown. He's going to stop the run. He's going to find a way to plug a gap, to take a defender or take an offensive lineman rather, and push him around and move that offensive line and dictate where the running back's going to go. And it's going to help out the linebackers a ton. We just talked about the linebackers a bit ago. And I think he's one of those additions that's going to add that kind of mentality of, hey, we're bigger up front and we're faster up front than we ever have been. And I think he's somebody that's going to move the line. He's somebody who comes in with still an ascending look in terms of his prospectability. And it's something that's great to see at pick 82. It's kind of incredible the amount of value that they got on these guys. And it's not like value like you're going to Dollar General down the road and you're just getting a 2-for-1 milk carton. Like, this is a value where you're getting like a Lamborghini for like just nothing. Like, you're getting some top-notch talent for a very little price in the way that they selected these guys.
Yeah, in the hood we call
real
those.
Quick though, Cal.
I was gonna tell you what we call those.
I
deals
honestly
in the
feel
hood.
as if people are forgetting about Tristan Hill because
they are.
Thank you. See, because I feel like it's unfair to Tristan because of the expectations that was put on him. He was a pick at 58 that was treated like a first round.
Mm-hmm.
They put first round
because there was no first rounder,
right? And they put first round expectations on him, and he's a normal DT that's going to take about 3 years to develop, like all DTs and all defensive ends, right? Generally, like West Coast and I, we talk about this a lot. Generally, your impact defensive end and D tackles are your top 5, top 10. Other than that, they have to develop. So where does Gallimore or what did Buddha call him again?
The villain.
The villain.
The villain. Where does the villain fit in with Tristan Hill?
I think they're right there together. I think Gallimore player than Tristan Hill because Tristan Hill last year I had in the mid-50s. They kind of stretched on a guy with that pick.
Yeah.
Whereas with Neville Gallimore, I had him in the 40s, and we ended up having him fall to us. So I think Neville Gallimore is a better player. The thing that was so discouraging with Tristan Hill is the fact that he just wasn't active. He wasn't out there playing a ton. He was not on the roster. He was a healthy scratch almost every single week, especially whenever we got toward the end of the season. It just got to the point where he's not going to be on the roster. He's not going to be able to play this week. And that was kind of the discouraging part with Tristan Hill. I think he's got a ton left in the tank, and I agree with you. I think he's still developing. I'm hoping that this new coaching staff can maybe up that development, at least not give up on him. I don't want to give up on the guy because I think, like you said, he's a player that needs development. He wasn't ready for the NFL immediately. I think Neville Gallimore could be. And so that's kind of my difference in the two players. I think Tristan Hill's going to see a lot more playing time, and I think he's going to have to share that with a guy like Neville Gallimore and Dontari Poe, Gerald McCoy, those guys up front. It just adds to the what West Coast was saying a minute ago of adding that defensive line talent and finally turning over the defensive line after we have been calling for that for God knows how long, of getting some dogs up front. And I think Gallimore's another one of those. Because
I think, just real quick, I think Tristan Hill showed flash. Like, I really observed him. He was very limited, but when he was there, I saw him retrace his steps on screens, diagnose it. He won on the point of attack really well, even on doubles. Like he was losing in preseason. You could tell he needed help. But when it was game time, the few snaps that he was in there, I was like, I saw the flash. I saw the
There's
first
something
step.
there, right?
Yeah, it's something there. And it's like, I just don't want us as fans and the Cowboys. I don't think the Cowboys will, because I think this is a common sense defensive staff. But I just want us to keep his name out there, because the only thing that I'm concerned about Tristan Hill, I want to get your opinions on this, is just maturity. Like, will we be patient as he is trying to mature? And you're seeing him around the building. Are you seeing him bigger? Does he look like he's working out? Does he look like he's taking his offseason serious? Or are you seeing kind of like, I don't know?
Well, you got to remember, I'm at home and I haven't been in the facility since March. But before then, I think everybody can agree that Tristan Hill's not just laying around. I don't think he's somebody who's going to give up, because I think he has that football IQ. I think he does. I think he's a smart player. I just don't think he was ready physically to play against the NFL linemen. I just don't think he was.
Right.
And so if he's able to continue building, and the offseason program has apparently been extremely efficient from multiple sources in terms of the coaching staffs and some of the players that have been involved. So I think it's something that you can look for going into the preseason. But right now, I don't have an answer for you, just because, I mean, we're
can't see him yet.
Right. We haven't been in the building for a couple months now, and I don't know when we'll go back in terms of at least our facility, because we can do all of our stuff at home. So, but if I had to guess, I don't think it would be something like where he's just falling off.
Yeah. And man, we about to slide over here and talk about Reggie for a little bit, man. My boy Reggie. Now, the cool thing about Reggie is you would think that the Cowboys drafted 2 cornerbacks. But something's telling me that Reggie has this word that you just love hearing Jerry say. I think they just love saying he has position flexibility. That is definitely.
He's got some of that versatility.
That versatility. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think he has a flashcard of just words that he feels that he needs to say at least 6 or 7 times a day. And
I'm right there with you.
Yeah,
man.
flexibility is definitely like, it doesn't matter, can he be flexibility? You know what I'm saying? Okay, then you're good. And I feel like with the Cheetah Bay and Woozier talking about the switching, and I see Reggie, I feel like Reggie is really the guy that you might want to switch, if I'm not mistaken.
I think Reggie's our safety.
And I want to know, what do you?
I don't agree with you guys there.
Okay.
Though. And the reason why is look at the build of Reggie Robinson. He's your prototypical corner for Mike Nolan. Like, he's exactly what you want in that corner position. And you look at the ball hawking skills, the way he's able to cover receivers, it's something that's a great marriage in terms of him being a corner. I think his future's at corner. Now you can play around, and we talked about it earlier. You could throw Darryl Worley or Cheeto, or you could throw a Reggie Robinson back at safety. Let's do it all. Let's throw it all in the preseason. Let's see what we got. I think he's a corner.
I heard Jerry actually say that, like, on the boat right after the draft. He said we're envisioning Reggie as the safety, because he did mention versatility.
Yeah,
I think you're right, though. I think we need to see it all. I think you're right. Play with it. Let's just test it. But yeah, prototype wise, absolutely. Like, I would want to see him at corner. I just have a feeling he's gonna be our safety. And then I want to get your thoughts on this real quick. Now, Will McClay called him. Now, out of all of the crazy draft picks, right? Out of all, like, we all, like you said, from round 1 to 6, we was all like, look, we couldn't envision this to go better than like, you couldn't have had a mock draft on a simulator better than what we did, right?
Nope.
Like, for real, you would have said,
I made a joke about that on Twitter.
Right. You would have been like, no way. If somebody like posted our draft as a simulator, you'd have been like,
that's not realistic.
That's not gonna happen.
Can I ask you?
Will McClay called him out of all of these guys the pet cat. And his pet cat last year was right because it was Pollard. I want to get your thoughts.
I'm right there with you, man. And we had talked about him on the draft show, and credit to Kevin Turner of the Eagle and of the Athletic. And he was on him from the get-go, because it was like the first or second show that we had, and it was like January. He goes, guys, watch this Reggie Robinson guy from Tulsa. Like, I'm going to give you a homework assignment. Go watch his film. We all came back that next. We were like, guys, we're sold. Like, this guy's a stud. Like, this guy knows what he's doing, and he can play anywhere. Like, the versatility's there. And I think in West Coast, I think you were the one that asked the question a little bit earlier of what happens with like Xavier Woods. If there's a safety moved, maybe that is the move. Maybe Robinson goes as like a backup safety to Woods. You've got Woods and Clinton Dix as your safeties, and then you have Cheeto, Jordan, and Diggs as your corners. That doesn't sound bad to me either.
Yeah.
I just think that whenever it's Reggie Robinson and his film and everything that he put on tape as a member of the Tulsa Golden Hurricane, plus he's a local kid too. Let me just side note. I like the fact that he's a local kid, grew up in Cleburne, was a part of that Jacket squad for a good amount of time, and then ended up going to Tulsa. So I think he adds that flexibility, but he also adds the athleticism and the corner prototype that I think Mike Nolan wants. It may be a thing like we saw with Byron Jones, where he goes to safety for a little bit, plays some solid time at safety, and then he makes his way back to corner because he just fits there better a little bit further down the line. But it just kind of depends on what the personnel is. Maybe it's one of those situations, but I like Reggie Robinson a lot. And I said it earlier, you go through the draft picks 1 through 6, and I was like, man, this is awesome.
Yeah.
This could not have been better. And I think that was kind of the feeling that Will McClay and that entire staff have. It was like, we're on cloud 9. Like, this is incredible.
Just sweet.
I want to just a small. We got 2 more players before we got 2 more players we're gonna go over because we kind of talked about the quarterback already. But I want to know, man, when you were seeing this happen, why do you think? I mean, my thought was just like, man, I just felt like a bunch of teams were just reaching on players. You know what I'm saying? And like, why do you think this? You know, why do you think this anomaly was even able to happen? Do you think the NFL was just reaching, or like, because these were some solid guys that just were already slated that were just there, like. Like, people just passed on for sure stuff and didn't do it.
Mm-hmm. And I think it has to do with a couple of things. First off, everybody has their board. Everybody has their opinions. There's always reaches. There's always those guys that fall that you didn't necessarily think about. The first round was almost chalk with the exception of CeeDee Lamb. And that was kind of the interesting one that fell. And so the Cowboys picked him up, and it ended up happening. Even A.J. Terrell at 16 to the Falcons was one that we kind of anticipated, even though a lot of people were like, wow, that's a surprising pick. Terrell, a corner, going to the Falcons at 16. That's way too early for him. Like, we kind of anticipated that happening because Terrell was a really good corner. Lamb was the one that fell. Whenever it comes to some of these later guys, though, I think it's a credit to Will McClay and the cohesiveness of this Cowboys scouting staff in the crazy times that we're in. I mean, you think about the Senior Bowl, we were there. The Combine, we were there. But after the Combine, I remember being in Indianapolis in my hotel room watching a news report about COVID-19 saying, oh, there's a couple cases in the U.S. There's not one in Indiana yet. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. That's crazy. This thing's already spreading like that. And then we get back and all of a sudden it's just nuts and everything shuts down. So the fact that right after the Combine, things went 0 dark 30, you didn't have the 30 visits, you didn't have any of those other things going on. I think it was a credit to this staff who's been together for season after season, have been able to put together drafts before, have been able to do this kind of things. And then the wherewithal of Mike McCarthy and his coaching staff to kind of just say, get us the best player available. Go get us some dogs. Let's play football. We'll fit our scheme to who we come across. Then we'll figure it out from there. And I think the combination of those two, of the Cowboys maybe having more cohesiveness than maybe some of the other NFL teams, helped out. And then also just the fact that the front office allowed the scouting department to do their jobs the right way. Because I can tell you the Raiders, they made some picks that were not the scouting staff's picks. It was the John Gruden picks. It was the Mike Mayock picks. It wasn't necessarily the picks that the scouting report ended up making. So just kind of interesting looking at kind of the way that things kind of went back and forth. And I think it was just the fact that those two were so tightly knit that it just worked out well.
Yeah, man, because you know,
Oh.
I mean, by this point, I'm looking at, and I'm like, man, are these guys tripping, or like, did they hand us the wrong list or something? like, like you know how you
I
start
think
looking.
Will McClay
This
was
is better
freed
than
up
any
too.
mock draft I've ever had.
Yeah,
think
like,
'cause,
did somebody give us the wrong list?
Yeah,
I think Will McClay was freed up too. I have to
he
say
was.
that, because like, you know, one of the things that really made me excited about Mike McCarthy is, you know, great leaders know how to set the tone at the right time.
Mhm.
You know, and when he, you know, the report came out that he went to Will McClay and said, you know, look, you focus on getting us the best player. We go for worry about them fitting in the right scheme. And Will McClay, I think he said something to to like, it freed him up, and that says a lot to me. That says that he was battling, because as a scout, I'm trying to imagine that you have so many conflicting priorities, right?
Mhm.
And he allowed him to just focus on what was just the ideal thing to do, and I think it's what set the tone.
It did. And you think about these scouting departments, you got the West Coast Scout, the East Coast Scout, the Southwest, the Southeast. You've got all of these different scouts that go and they spend months, weeks at a time away from their families, away from their homes, living on the road, living in a car, doing these scouting reports throughout college football season. Then you come back, and if the coaching staff that you have had decides to go through these and sift through these different files on guys and said, I don't like that guy. And then you're sitting there thinking that was one of my favorite guys, but now that's out of the window.
Yes, conflicting.
You got to think about how infuriating and stressful that could be whenever you're said, hey, you've done the work, you've done the homework, you've gone to all these games, you've seen these players live, you've talked to them, you've talked to their families, you've seen them at the combine and the Senior Bowl. How about you? How about you're the big word, the final say in a lot of these deals? As a scout, that's music to their ears. That's exactly what they want to hear because they've spent so much time around it.
Yeah, you know what's crazy, man? Like, I just like, man, you just gave me, you just like, that just gave me a vision of something I would never want to do, man. Like, have you imagined, like, going, talking to a kid, like, doing all that, and then you're up there, and then your guy's there, and you're like, oh, my God.
That's him. I want him.
They're going to get my guy. And then they get the same position, but another guy. And you're like, what the, wait. Like, all that work. Like, man, I never even kind of like, that has to be crazy. Like, all that
it
work.
has to hurt, because, you know,
when you think about it, there's only 10 picks or so that you end up making, too. You got such a small sample size of the guys you're able to grab.
And it hurt me. I'm gonna be honest. It hurts. Like, you know, when you go through that's why we all of draft heads, we all got our pets. Like, my pet was DK Metcalf.
Ooh, yeah.
That hurt. Like, it really did hurt. Like, the whole scouts, West Coast, everybody had to say, be positive. But the next guy is actually my favorite guy. Like, this is my guy. This is the guy that I'm standing on the table for. And like, if you ever watched the show, please don't, because I was so I embarrassed myself when we picked this guy. Like, it was totally crazy. Tyler,
Biotish, baby.
Yeah,
Tyler,
like,
bad. We call
you know,
the badass.
And Todd Mache, like, you know, I went like into his background. He had a first round grade last year, and the reason why he dropped, and you'll know likely better than me because, you know, you spent a lot of time on a draft show. But yeah, I think the only reason he's dropped is because of the surgery in March and the hip. If he wouldn't have had those two, and I think also mixed with the COVID and the inability to really check him, I think this is, to me, I think this is the steal of the draft to me. I think this is.
It's right up there. I think I'm right there with you because whenever they went up and they wanted to grab a guy, he was on the short list of guys right at that point because they traded a 5th round pick to go up and get back into the 4th round pick in order to get that.
And who did they trade with?
Did it with the hated Philadelphia.
I know that's crazy, and they actually did it.
Got it done. Yeah, that's
even more crazier is they actually did it.
Yeah, and he was on the short list of the guys that you thought, hey, they might be going up to get this guy because he fits the mold. Travis Frederick has moved on. It kind of creates a little bit of a pipeline in terms of Wisconsin centers. I mean, I know that probably had zero to do with what happened, but just the pick that ended up happening. Like you said, last year was a guy who was touted as a potential first or second rounder. Then he falls to the third round in the middle of the season. He has the surgeries, and then you come back, and all of a sudden he's there for you, and you have a chance to trade up and get him. And now you've got a three-man competition for that center spot. You got Joe Looney, Connor McGovern, and then you throw in Tyler Biadasz. Originally, I thought Connor Williams was going to be moved over and be that third name of the potential center, starting center. Now I think he might be a swing tackle. He might be the starting left guard, depending on what they think about Connor McGovern or Joe Looney. There's so many possibilities with that left guard spot and the center spot, with about 4 or 5 names really thrown into the mix, that it just kind of frees up your coaching staff to finally make a decision and improve yourself as an offense. And so I love the pick overall, because you get a great player, you got him at a cheap price, you went up and snagged him because you liked him so much, and now it gives you just so many options, and you can play around with it. It's not even a decision that has to be made by training camp or the end of training camp. If things don't work out in weeks 1 and 2, flip them. Let's see what happens in game action, like we were talking about earlier, Marcus. And so I think this is a steal. Like you said, maybe not the steal of the draft. I think I would probably maybe still throw CeeDee Lamb in there, just because I love CeeDee Lamb, and I ran a half marathon because I would put my foot in my mouth on a bet. But that was that was one of those steals of the draft that I think ended up working out.
Hey, my boy Stephen Jones said in 2000, I think it was 2015, he said the goal of the offensive line is always to have the 5 best offensive linemen on the field at any given time, no matter what position. You know what I'm saying? And basically, he was saying outside of position doesn't matter. You know, get the 5 best offensive line, put them out there, figure out what it's going to be. I want to know right now, this is that question. I told you it was coming, man. You only got one more because we don't talk about that tonight, kid. But I want to know, man. Who's your best 5, man? We got a game tomorrow, man. We got a game tomorrow.
Got a game tomorrow.
We got a game tomorrow. Who's
that
your
left
best
guard
5?
spot's tough, but everything else I'm pretty solid in. I think you would go left tackle, of course, Tyron Smith. You got right guard. You've got Zach Martin, right tackle, Lyle Collins. That's solid. You're not moving those.
That's where it gets
3
difficult.
guys. When it comes to center, I think the odd man out of the center competition is going to be the starting left guard. Is ultimately what's probably going to happen. I think and that's something with Connor Williams. I went back and watched some Connor Williams tape too. Not impressed. I know he was hurt, and there were things there. I think he may fit better as a swing tackle, but now you got Cam Irving, who was potentially going to be a swing tackle. I think he's going to be in the mix in terms of playing that left guard spot. But I'm going to say the center is going to be Tyler Biadasz.
You're the second
Actually,
person.
You know what? I'm going to flip it. I'm actually not going to say Tyler Biadasz. I'm going to say Joe Looney, and the sole reason for that is because he has starting experience before. This is only week 1, though. I think by the end of the season, Tyler Biadasz will be the starter.
Yeah,
that's what Brienne said yesterday.
It's going to be Joe Looney. The left guard, I think, is going to be Connor McGovern. And the reason why is because I just think he's going to fit that role a little bit better than Connor Williams. It's going to be a problem spot. I think there's going to be some shifting there. But if I had to give the 5, it'd be the 3 that I said were solid. I'd say the center right now, Joe Looney. Later in the season, it's Biadasz. And then you've got the left guard. I think it would be McGovern.
Who's your swing tackle? Who's going to look your swing?
I would probably put Cam Irving.
Swing
tackle.
So then, so
you don't want him playing tackle though. That's the swing tackle that it's if Tyron Smith gets hurt or Lyle Collins has a stinger or something. Like that's the only thing that I would have. You kind of have 2 swing tackles with Williams and Irving, so it gives you some options if both guys go down, because Collins missed a game last year and Smith, of course, missed 3. So you have an option that if both of those guys go down, you've got 2 swing tackles you could throw in there. But I think on top of Williams, I think.
And then Knight.
Yeah. And then also something real
there too. Mm-hmm.
And Tyron Smith, he the big homie, but we got to keep it real. Who is going to be your starting tackle for those 3 games that he don't play for whatever reason?
Because he's
probably Irving.
Okay.
But it wouldn't. I'm not feeling great about it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't feel great about a potential Williams either. So I would probably still put Cam Irving there. You mentioned Brandon Knight, and I always forget to talk about Brandon Knight, but he's in that conversation too. I just think Williams and Irving are better, just by a little bit.
Yeah, hopefully he take that year 2 game.
And so my thing is this, y'all. I think so too.
The only
thing about Connor Williams is like he was a second round So,
Yeah, he was.
you know,
And they
And
kind
I think
of
last year they
wanted
tried
him
Connor
to
Williams.
beef up quicker
you
than they
want
did.
Connor Williams to win. You want Connor Williams in
Mhm.
all contractual, nothing has to do with football. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You want Connor Williams to win. Just like you want D-Law to be your leading sacker. Like he has to lead.
Well, it
the
makes
team
you
in
look smart if he does win.
Exactly.
Is another thing. But this isn't the same coaching staff. Might I remind you, they have no
Sponsors.
allegiance to Connor Williams at any point.
Yeah. Good point.
And
Yeah,
that's what.
because
Go ahead, boss.
who was that came on the show and they
Now it was Brian. Remember Brian Brodus. Brian Brodus said the difference.
Mike
between,
Fisher.
Difference between the coaching staffs is like a lot of these these players have what's called like sponsors. Like they have guys that
Sponsor,
believe in
right.
them.
Mhm.
But we fired 14 coaches, so it's like
Yep.
who's gonna stand on the table and be like,
matter
yo,
of fact,
this is
he
my
said
guy.
that Connor Williams have no sponsor.
Yeah, like in Connor Williams was the name that he used. He was like Connor Williams. He's like the problem I feel with Connor Williams is he doesn't have anybody in that room that's kind of like
the table.
that's gonna beat the table for him.
He's got to have somebody in his corner, and even with a new coaching staff, maybe it's a chance for him to get somebody in the corner. But with this COVID-19 stuff, it makes it a little bit tougher even then.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
it was crazy. Zach Martin, man. Zach Martin had a tweet the other day. He was talking to Brienne, and he basically said that how they were the effects of Travis. It was a comment about Travis Fredericks, but then he was like, but we got this other guy from Wisconsin that's coming in. I'm really excited to see him. Now he didn't like say his name, so he didn't all the way just like on Black Forum to be like is this your king? Is this your king? You know what I'm saying? So he didn't like do him all the way like this because if he would have said his name, like bro, listen like this. Like, listen.
It would have been a
If
huge
Drake,
thing.
bro, if Drake mentions my name in a show, like I'm on, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you're a guard or a center in Zach Martin, who is like the Drake of offensive linemen, if he mentions your being, like that's something that's why I believe like I understand why people believe.
I'm telling you, I think Tyler going.
Yeah, that's why so many people. You're like the third. Like I'm gonna put it like this: everybody who pays their mortgage off of doing this, me too. But everybody that pays their mortgage that come on here, they said, "Yeah, man, I think Tyler's gonna win it." Like I think,
Yeah.
I think he's gonna win it. Brianna said the same thing. She's
bet
like, "I think he's gonna win."
Yeah, I think he's gonna win. And
I think he will win, but I don't think it's going to be immediately. And
Yeah.
the reason
Yeah.
why I say that, if we had full rookie mini camps, we had OTAs, we had training camp, everything, I would say Biotish wins the job by week 1. I think it's the fact that it's the safer play with Joe Looney, of a guy who has had over 1,000 snaps, I think 1,200 snaps in his career at the center position as a starter. So that's kind of where I'm at. He filled in admirably in 2018 when Frederick went down. And then all of a sudden, Frederick retires. He's the guy who's going to fill in. I think Biotish will take over, and it may not take very long even. It could be week 3 or 4 that we see Biotish as the center, depending on how Joe Looney ends up playing, because you guys know as well as I do is there's a ton of pressure on this offense, and the offense starts with the offensive line. And if Dak Prescott doesn't have a whole lot of time to throw, your first-round draft pick and CeeDee Lamb is not going to get a whole lot of balls thrown his way, because
like
you're probably going to see a lot of underneath stuff to Blake Jarwin and maybe Michael Gallup in the slot, or even if Amari goes in the slot. So I think in order to protect your investment in what has been that whole offense, go for it, Marcus.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I would actually prefer that. Like that was actually on my wish list because of the surgery he just had in March, right? And the same thing with Tank. Like, Tank was likely not himself because of the surgery and the holdout, right? And the late surgery. So I think, and he's my pet cat, because when it's your pet cat, you go kind of nurse it a little bit. And I'm nursing Tyler. Like I'm like, I want to see the fullness of him. I don't want him out there battling and thrown out there before his shoulder has really healed. Yeah. So I would literally prefer it that way. If it happens that way, I think it's a super win for the Cowboys.
No doubt.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go for it, West Coast.
Now, I was just going to say, man, I want this youngster up under these, because, as much as we believe, that offensive linemen live forever, Travis Frederick really showed me that offensive linemen, they can just wake up one day and be like, I'm cool. Because I mean, I'm just comfortable right now, so I won't be out up under some of these veterans as long as they got. Because Tyron Smith, even though he started playing very young, he didn't play in the NFL a very long time. You know, Zach Martin's getting up in the, getting up in there. Lael, he's still doing his thing, but it's like you still that window of greatness with this offensive line. Unfortunately, guys, unless we start investing some more picks into it, we got like a real 3 to 4. You know what I'm saying? Like a 3 to 4 year. Before you're really gonna lose. The next 4 years, I can almost say, Zach Martin's probably gonna be leaning towards it. Tyron, because of injury, I can almost guarantee. I'm not saying I almost guarantee it, but I just feel like, man, he made so much money. And then another thing about Travis Frederick is he showed, man, that when you play well early and you get contracted early, man, it makes those decisions later on in your career easy to make. You know what I'm saying? Like, so.
Makes it a little easier.
Exactly. So I'm curious, especially, and then think about this. And so I'm going to tell you guys something else. I'm going to tell you like this. Veteran players like to go out on a bang. So, Cowboys win a Super Bowl in 2020. Don't be surprised if somebody surprised you and be like, yo, man, I'm up out of here, man.
I'm out.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and head out.
Yeah.
I think actually Frederick coming back.
Wow. Now that's a surprise.
Yeah. Because, see, we wasn't surprised on this show when he retired. Because West Coast did the research, and from his disease, it usually take about 2 years of full research. So, I researched with West Coast, I didn't want to come out and say it when I look at it, but I start looking at it. I said, yeah, he right. It take about 2 years. He retired right in the middle of that. I think he's going to start feeling his strength come back naturally. And I just have a feeling, because West Coast, we was not surprised he retired. We was warning everybody that this could happen. But, but just as another wild curveball, I think he's gonna come back. I think he's gonna start feeling his strength naturally come back, and all of a sudden we're gonna be even stronger.
You never know whenever that itch does come back. I mean, we saw it with Jason Witten. He left a little bit earlier, went to Monday Night Football, then he comes back and he's like, "Hey guys, I want to be a football player again." So he ended up doing that. I don't know if I see the same thing with Frederick. I don't think it's out of the question. Because I think that was such a shock to him and his family. I mean, this is a guy who was talking about not being able to carry his own daughter up the stairs. And that's heartbreaking for anybody out there. And so I think he realized that football and this don't necessarily mesh. It's such a contact sport that it's something that he would rather be safe than sorry with. And you got to respect the decision, because I mean, he's a legend in these parts, and he's somebody that, whenever you go through something like that, it hurts you and hurts your family for a little while, and it takes a little bit. I think he will start getting his strength back, and maybe whether that means he's going to be an NFL center again, or if he just decides to say, hey, I'm going to keep it with family time. He's set himself up for success. He's done so much for the community, a Walter Payton Man of the Year finalist, and all sorts of different things. I mean, he's going to be just fine whatever he ends up doing. But man, it's definitely something to replace. No doubt about it.
I'm definitely crossing my fingers, because it's obviously a wish list for him to come back. I just really feel that, like, if let me say that's better. If he naturally start feeling his strength come back, because it's perfectly in line with my brother West Coast research. He is not in a full 2 years yet. So I think, like, once we hit August, September, if he start feeling his strength, because he didn't play the same. I mean, he played through it, but it wasn't the same. Yeah. So I think if he sees himself as, I can come back.
Yeah. But I'm gonna tell you, before we go on to my last guy tonight, the one thing I will say is, I interviewed Travis at an event, and I know he's not going into coaching, because I remember I interviewed him when he was on the injured reserve last year. 2018, and he just said that he saw almost verbatim. He said he saw all the hours that coaches put in, and he just knew it wasn't for him. Like, if you just want to put, like, if I just want to sum up everything that he said, like, he's like, man, and like, he was like, West Coast, I'm here, like, I'm around, I'm around the players, and I'm seeing, like, what the players are putting in, and he's like, it's way too many hours, it's way too much,
It's a role for him, though.
Yeah, but I mean, the last
coach, he needs to be around.
Yeah.
He needs to be around. Like, look, everybody brags on his cerebral ability. Just that alone, like, we might not need you to be the coach, but just you being around, because you see what others don't. Like
Mhm.
they need to create a spot for him.
Yeah.
I mean that too. Like they need to
Yeah.
create
It's
like
gonna
a
have to
ad hoc.
It's gonna
You're
start. It's
not a
gonna
coach.
yeah.
You're a consultant.
Yeah.
You just around.
It's gonna
I
have
would
to.
just
Special
keep him around.
assistant,
Yeah.
something like
It's
that.
gonna. Yeah.
Yeah, create a spot for him because like you want him around it, you want him missing it. I will play a head game with him. I'll be like, hey, just keep him around. Keep him working out with the guys.
Yeah.
You just want him to get that itch, you know?
Yeah.
Well, Marcus, what happens whenever Tyler Biotish comes out and he's just as good and he's an all-pro guy, and then you're saying, "Oh, never mind, you can go back home, Tyler. Like, have fun, buddy."
Yeah, 'cause
Like
Tyler on a rookie
that's
deal.
dangerous
Creative.
play.
Yeah, because
creative.
Tyler on a rookie
You're
deal.
creative. You're creative.
Yeah.
Like, look, put the all-pro center at the guard and be like, well, now we got an all-pro guard.
Oh wow, this is incredible.
Yeah, just
I mean, my thing.
we
At the
still
end.
have him under contract,
Yeah.
right? If he get, and you're right though, because that would happen with us. We will be like Frederick Hoop quick. We do that, but I just don't think you should. I think you should keep him around, and if he gets his strength back, then get creative, figure it out.
Yeah. The initiative is all going to be on him, because one thing about Fredericks is he is well taken care of, and he is very, very comfortable. I've never interviewed or seen him outside of Dallas Cowboys where he didn't have on a pair of, like, cargo shorts and some flip-flops. You know what I'm saying? So, like
He's a dude, man.
Like, exactly. So he is definitely, like, and I don't even think it has to do with, like, him getting an itch. I think it has to do with him just, like, because, like, in his mind, I feel like Travis don't feel like he has anything to prove to anyone. So it's like it's going to have to, like, and then he's financially set up. So it's like he has so many factors that are just pulling on him to just stay his narrow tail at home. And then he has little kids, so it's like, I think, hey, we shall see. But I'll tell you this, if Tyler ends up balling, you're not even going to be thinking about him. But I do
No,
want
I
to think about something real quick, though. And that is, I want to know, man, how does a guy get 13 and a half sacks, man? How does a guy get 13 and a half sacks, man, and not end up at least in, like, the second round, man? How does a guy with 13 and a half sacks end up a Dallas Cowboy? I want to know, man.
Two things with Bradley and I: short arms and a super slow 40. And and those are two things that, as an edge rusher, it scares people. Like, it just sends shivers down defensive coordinator spines potentially, because even though on tape, you go put on the tape. I mean, look at Bradley and I, and he tears up offensive line, rather.
Yeah.
Yes, he tears them up. I mean, he torched some of those better Pac-12 tackles
Stanford
all year long. Now, he was playing next to Leaky Fotu, who was another great draft pick. He had Francis Bernard, who's now a Dallas Cowboy, behind him. He had a great secondary, too. Sure, that Utah defense was just nasty all the way through college football season. But Bradley and I was a part of that nastiness. And I think that's something that was kind of lost during the combine, but you saw it at the Senior Bowl. We were talking in the Senior Bowl stands, me and David Hellman of DallasCowboys.com, and we were kind of just talking back and forth, and we looked over and said, "Who's the kid that Utah helmet? Who's that guy?" And we looked him up on the roster because all their numbers are scattered and different, and you can't see the names at all. And we were like, "Who's the Utah kid?" Bradley and I. Okay, what's interesting about him? Well, he's got short arms, and he's not that quick. Well, he looks quick. Why is he not that quick? Well, just straight line speed isn't his thing, but he's got some bend, he's got some athleticism, and he's put up the production, like you said, 13 and a half sacks to turn some heads. And I think that's something that, at least at that pick in round 5, the Cowboys felt like they were going to get another player that could come in and potentially not only make the roster, but make an impact. And I think whenever it comes to an eye, he's in a crowded room when it comes to that defensive end spot, because now you got Aldon Smith back because of his reinstatement. You're positive about Randy Gregory, at least you're hopeful about Randy Gregory coming back, and then all of a sudden you've got the guys fighting for position in terms of that right defensive end spot opposite of Tank Lawrence. I think Anai's going to see some playing time, but he's going to get the speed up. And I mean, the length you can't do anything about, but you got to be creative enough to be able to combat that, have some different moves, have something that at least shows off that you can get around NFL tackles.
Yeah, man. And, man, I know I was at the Stanford game because my little cousin played for Stanford right now. Trayvon, he play corner. That's the only thing we breed over here is cornerbacks. That's all we do, man. We lock it down. But, yeah, man, like it was funny. I mean, it wasn't funny because my mom is sitting there, and my mom, like, I'm just literally just seeing Bradley just literally just ruin the whole reason why we drove 6 hours. Because he he just single-handedly just pooped all
Torched him.
over the party. Like that was like there hasn't been like all there. You mean like I've always seen the offensive players taking over games is one thing, but a defensive guy, like it was at the point where I was nudging my mom like, yo, they're gonna have to double team this dude. Like if they don't, because he was just slamming like, and it was like, you know how you get to the point where the offensive line, like he's just killed the pride in the offensive line because they're not even helping the quarterback get up anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like it was stuff like that. Like they were just in their own feelings, and like he just destroyed that.
With your pass rush move.
Yeah, just single-handedly just destroyed that game. And, like, I'm not comparing him to Chase Young, but it's like the only person in college that I just seen do that, just that, like, this year that just single-handedly just took over a game was Chase. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's another guy that I've seen just single-handedly take over games. And Bradley, man, he has that ability when he has a high motor. When he gets going, man. And I just feel that, like, I feel like sometimes, man, some people just got to be the smarty smart. Like, they feel like they got to be the smartest person in the building. So they're like, yeah, he has 13 and a half sacks, but those little T-Rex arms, yeah, no, I'm not going to take that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be, like, some stuff is just obvious. You got 13 sacks, draft the guy. Draft him. You know what I'm saying? Worst case, you say, hey, man, my bad. Hey, the dude had 13 sacks. What am I supposed to say? You know what I'm saying? I'm not supposed to draft him. So, I mean, I absolutely, when I saw this pick, man, I was very, very, and then the last thing I'm going to say on him, man, is he did that little haku dance. Like, man, how you going to come to somebody else's stands and then have your team out there dancing on their field? Like, it was just like total. It was just like, it was disrespectful, but I loved it all at once.
It's that confidence. It's that swagger that you bring into it.
Yeah, it's like that Patrick Beverly. Like, I hate him, but I want him on my team.
Like, I love, because, I know you very deep into the draft. And, because I wrote the Boss Cowboy, Dallas Cowboy offseason guide. I finished it in December, right? And I discovered him when I was researching tackles because I was starting to put bad grades on tackles, and I started noticing a pattern. I say, this guy from Utah, and it's,
what is this?
I put it like this: he's the Chase to corner to me, right? You could misdiagnose corners because they played LSU, right? And you see Chase just destroy them. But he destroys everybody, right?
Yeah.
So you can actually undergrade guys because of the talent. That's what Anai was to me. So, like, I think this is also one of those sleeper picks. And in like in terms of his 40 and stuff, it's like, how could we pick Taco in the first round?
I was just about to say that, bro. I was just about to say that.
And be so excited about Taco.
Yeah.
And be like, or not, right?
Right.
It's the part of scouting judgment that's never sound.
It's crazy.
I'm gonna ask you one more question. This is off topic.
Okay.
I never understood why Taylor had a second round grade. I never understood that. That to me was the mystery of the draft. That was the mystery because his measurables, his production, his speed, his size, his pro day, everything was Saquon Barkley-ish except his agility.
Yeah. I think, man, I'm right there with you. I love Jonathan Taylor. I think it's just the thought process around running backs right now that might have scared off some people is the fact that you need a guy who can receive out of the backfield, and I know Jonathan Taylor can do that. He absolutely can. But it's just right now, I mean, look at the teams that don't really need a running back. I mean, that's kind of one thing. I mean, you go down the list, most of the teams have their guys for the most part. I mean, I know there's some teams here and there that have them and maybe don't need them more so, but need them a little bit. And that's kind of why I think both him and DeAndre Swift ended up falling into the second round. I like both of those guys, and I think they'll be successful in the NFL, especially Taylor. I had Taylor as my number one, Swift as my number two, and I know a lot of people had those flip-flopped, but I think it just kind of has to do with the thought process around running backs. Now, that could change. Next year, there could be 3 or 4 first-round running backs. Who knows? We don't even know how that's going to turn out. But I think with the deep wide receiver class, the deep offensive line class, and the quarterbacks that were available, I think it just pushed those running backs down.
Shoot, man, I heard that.
So groupthink is a sin.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a terrible thing. It's an awful thing.
Your standard.
Unless it has to do with CD Lamb, then group things are great.
Hey, group thinking is bad as long as you're if you're agreeing with me, it's a good thing. If you're not, then it's a bad thing.
Yeah,
If your group is right, then it's cool.
Yeah. Hey, man. So, yo, hey, I need to actually, man, before we let you up out of here, man, I want to know, man, what do you got working on this week, man? Let us know where we can follow you at and what we got working on this week.
Yeah, I mean, you can always follow me on Twitter at Kyle_Yeomans. It's Yeomans, by the way. I heard you guys saying Yeomans or whatever, like that kind of thing. It's Yeomans. So it's like Yo Man, but with an S at the end.
Actually, we stayed away from the last name because I don't know.
No, I know. You said, hey, I'm going to call him Kyle, but I wanted to call you.
Hey, is Mama call him Cal? I'm going to call him Cal.
So, I heard you.
You can help me to pronounce it.
That's
Thank
okay.
you.
Yeah, Mama call him Kyle. That's okay.
Mama call him Cal. I'm calling him Cal.
It's all
So
good.
say it
But
one
yeah,
more time so I can just have
Yeomans.
it perfect.
Go ahead.
It's Yeomans.
Got it.
Yeomans.
Yeah, man.
Got it. Okay, cool. But yeah, it's spelt like Yeomans, and you can find me on Twitter. I'm on the Blitz every week, which is the Dallas Cowboys offseason report. It's on Fox Sports Southwest, on the Cowboys website, all sorts of things. And then I host Talking Cowboys every Tuesday at 11 o'clock. And man, that is a fun group of guys. It's just like you guys. We're just chatting ball is kind of what it is. And it's Isaiah Stanback, Super Bowl champion, played with Tom Brady with the Patriots. And it was, of course, a Dallas Cowboy as well. And then you've also got Heckma Harrison, who's just a Swiss Army knife type of guy. And then another Cowboys insider in Rob Phillips. And so just a fun group of guys on Talking Cowboys. I highly encourage you taking a chance on that show, and then also turn it over to you guys here over at West Coast. And Marcus, I mean, you guys do a great job here as well, man.
Shoot, well, I appreciate you, man, and man, I look forward to having you back on. Maybe around right after training. I want to say
we
maybe
talk about the
after training. After training, I want to bring you back on. Maybe around that 4th, 5th preseason game ish. So then we can really talk about, because that's when that new free agency about to open up. So we'll be like, hey, man, so I want to know, Kyle, I know you a Cowboy fan, and I know you play work for the Cowboy fans, but Kyle, I want to know, man, what players you been looking on other teams? Kyle, tell me, Kyle. I know you've been looking at us. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, it's got to be the wide receivers, at least at this moment, is where I'm kind of trying to find. It's tough also with the draft class and COVID, and you're not really getting a whole lot of at least footwork done in terms of who's not going to be on these rosters. But I think wide receiver needs to be a position of choice. Maybe even linebacker there too. I'll give you one on both sides of the ball. You go get you a wide receiver, go get you a linebacker.
Okay.
Free agency, and then all of a sudden you're cooking with gas because you've got some depth. You've got some guys that can make some plays. I don't have any specific names for you, at least at the moment, just because I don't really know who's going to fall, but I am keeping an eye on that a little bit. I'm keeping touch, and those are the two positions I'm really looking at.
Yeah, can you do me a favor before you leave?
Dez Bryant.
What's that?
First of all, do you play golf?
I do.
Okay, so I want to get out there and play with you.
Let's do it. That
Okay.
sounds like a ton of fun. Yeah.
That's one. Two,
Okay.
I'm gonna really want you to check out my book
Okay.
and critique it, dissect it, beat it up, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm gonna work on a volume 2, and I
Uh-huh.
want it to be even better. And I know the amount of work that you put in, you're gonna have a way better eye than most. So we'll do both. I'm gonna get a hard copy, and when I get it, I'm gonna text you. I'm gonna say, okay, the book is here, and then the round is gonna be on me. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that's fair.
Sounds good to me. Yeah,
There you go.
we'll do that, and I'll dissect it. You're giving me way too much credit. I mean, I'm sure your book's pretty spot on in terms of your scout's eye. I'm trusting.
Yeah.
You and I were on the same page quite a bit during this interview, so
yeah.
I think you and I are good.
But I want to improve.
I'll do whatever you
I'm
want.
certain that because every year I improve, and I'm pretty sure this
Yeah.
is your first year. I'm pretty sure you look back and said, I learned this year from this process.
Oh, a
So
ton.
I'm trying to
Yeah.
do that with my book, and I really mean that. I want a critical eye and somebody that went through the process. So and I just want to do that, and I think because it's going to make the next book better, and I really would appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I got you, man. I
Thank
got you. Anything you need. Now, you said you're a Carter Cowboy. Are you up in Dallas right now?
Yeah, I'm in Dallas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
We'll meet
yeah.
up when this.
And
when
I'm
this
not one of
social
those guys.
distancing's
You know
over.
how some people play golf and they let you win and stuff. That's
Yeah.
not,
Oh,
like,
I'm trash, so you'll win. You'll be good. I'm terrible. I'm so bad. Yeah, you're good. I've got a killer drive. I can hit it 300 yards. I've got a 300-yard drive, but I can't do anything after that. It's trash. It's
You're right.
So
Don't
it's-
tell me.
So it sounds like you practice social distance on the golf course.
That's it. Yeah, it's the distance from the ball to the hole is what it is. That's the distance.
Hey, man. Hey, Kai, I just want to let you know, man, if you see Des Bryant walking through the building at any time, a simple text will be cool. That's all I'm asking. Simple text.
I'll let you know. I haven't seen him, but yeah, I'll let you know whenever we get back in the building.
I appreciate you. Hey, man, well, it's been a pleasure, man. I look forward to seeing you knee deep in training camp a little while from now. So far from this corona that we would just all forgot about it, and it's just a fake memory. You know what I'm saying?
I agree, man.
So I see you.
I agree.
Until then, my brother, hey, you be blessed, brother. I'm going to let you go. You have a blessed day.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Kyle.
Man, that was a super duper.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, you know, I saw some scouts, some people in the chat say, who is that? It's like, now you know who he is. It's a guy that really does a lot of research. And I think it's impossible to sit in that circle that he sat amongst and go through those internal debates and not come out as a super sharp knife. You know what I mean? You know? So, you know, it's you know, his draft sword is gonna sharpen every year. So it's a guy that we're privileged to be able to bring on, and he's making his rounds. He's just like Breonna Dix and James Slater, to where they don't forget the hard road that they came from, and they give back. And you know, it's nothing like the Cowboy media. Like what we're receiving, you can't buy this.
Yeah, man. So shout out to CEV for coming on the show today, man. Shout out to my boy JAYLON Smith for coming on, making this show like super duper epic, man. That was probably one of my biggest interviews, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. And I mean, shout out to the homie for blessing me with it. That's how it's supposed to be. You know, man, my boy kept it all the way funky with me and came on here and just had a good time. My dude said he had a couple minutes for me, had his whole team on there, and I love the approach my boy JAYLON gave it, because he gave me the same approach as if he was going on like a ESPN or something like that. So man,
he was on the same background.
Compliment, I mean, I received the compliment, the nonchalant compliment that was given to me, just by his professionalism, and I hope you receive that too, boss, because I mean that's what's up, man. There's some folks out here that take what we're doing very serious, and I take what you guys doing very serious too, man. We had some serious star lords in the kingdom tonight, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get everybody counted up. I know my boy Nanel did 7,000 stars. Then he also became a supporter. My boy Rick became a supporter tonight. I appreciate you. Martha became a supporter. I appreciate you guys. Hey, man, this fly that's been bothering me all night just became a supporter of this fly swatter, man. So shout out to that fly. But yeah, man, I'm about to get up. I'm about to slide up in here, man, and eat some. We had 2 hours of funk. We had JAYLON Smith on a random Tuesday. Why? Because it's CEV Tuesday. Had to improve.
Yeah, let me go out with my.
You know what I'm saying? Then we had my boy Cal on here that just broke down the draft like nobody else. Why? Because you need that funk, man.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I'm going to tell y'all like this, man. I appreciate you guys for watching, man. I appreciate you guys for sharing. We had 476 shares. Appreciate you, Quincy, for becoming a supporter tonight, too. I got to look at the shares right now. It looks like my boy Renell is going to be the Star Lord. From what I'm seeing right now, I will go through everything and get it all tallied up. But I do want to appreciate you. And shout out to my boy Eric, who just dropped 100 stars twice. Miss Martha. Hey, shout out to Ken also, who's been a supporter for 2 months. And, hey, shout out to everybody, man. Hey, man, I'm going to tell you this. Shout out to every single person that ever watched West Coast from the beginning, man. I just want to let you know that I appreciate you, man. It was your drives and your shares and the love that y'all reciprocated, man, to continue to force us to get better and to get better interviews. And I just want to let you guys, man, I appreciate you guys for being the driving factor for West Coast and Boss Cowboy, man. You were greatly appreciated, man. My boy Tyler with the 1,400 stars, I appreciate you, man. And, hey, man, I want to let you guys know, man, you guys have absolutely showed love to your boy West Coast tonight, man. My boy Boss, man, as you can see, he got the fresh haircut, man. We take this stuff serious. I got a haircut, too. Try to play me. It's because my hair is low. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, let me say.
See, my hair always look like this. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's what, like, Boss Cowboy, you can tell he got the haircut because you can't see that. He even do a little touch of black in there. You tell me? I see him.
Got the Duke.
I see you got the Duke in there. I see you. A Duke. I see you double palmed it.
No, it's no Duke. No, it's no Duke. I'm just
Now he gonna try to say he got it. I got Indian.
It's juices and berries.
I got Indian in my family.
It's juices and
I
berries.
got Indian in my family.
I got Indian. You can see it in my cheeks.
Yeah.
Hey, listen. I do want to say thank you to everybody that went to put the tips into Dallas Boss. You know, I really appreciate that on the Cash App. You know, obviously that's you know, every time you support us, we either go, you know, spend it on lunch or we put it on the show. So I really appreciate that. You know, it's a lot of love and you know, and we, man, this show rocked today, man. I think this is one of the best ones, man. I think from JAYLON to Cal, Yeomans, man, like, bruh, like if you stayed, you got the whole draft breakdown, and he said he's coming back for the undrafted free agents. Because see, that part is just as good.
Mm-hmm. Came through dripping.
Let me let you go, man, because you know
came through dripping, drip.
Got me, you know, they got the hot balls. It was just
crazy
today, man.
Drip. Came through dripping, drip. Hey, man, I'm gonna tell y'all this, man. I appreciate the love, the Hot Boy Show, man. Appreciate everybody, man. This is a Mama I Made It moment, man. Like, I just appreciate it, man. Shout out to everybody that's been showing love, man. Shout out to my boy producer G, man, who helped design the show, man. Shout out to everybody who puts comment in the comment box. Shout out to all my scouts in the scout box, man. Shout out to Boss Cowboy, man, I told my boy.
Hold on real quick, West Coast. I'm sorry. I got to give you a shout out, bro. I really do.
What the hell I do?
I watched that video you put out when you was following JAYLON and you asked him about the swipe. When boys actually watch that video, the vibe is like we was all just best friends.
Yeah, JAYLON a solid dude.
Listen, y'all. Listen.
He a solid dude.
West Coast worked very hard for what he's doing. Like, listen, I was with him when he was told at an event, you cannot video.
At a Cowboy event that I was invited to.
Listen, I'm gonna keep it nice. I ain't gonna say nothing, you know, right? But I watched what he went through. He always knew JAYLON was available from Cowboys packages. He knew that, but he was staying put in a certain position. So when he was told, you can't video here. Now, when somebody's told as a blogger, you can't video, that's our life, right? Our life is capturing these moments, right? And I watched him sit there quiet, go across the street, create a relationship immediately, and kept pushing. And then the JAYLON thing happened. Now, as he was walking and filming, he didn't just get that. And listen, I want y'all to know what he went through for this. The first thing that West Coast did is he helped out everything in that event to make sure it was smooth. That's the first thing that he did. So JAYLON didn't just fall in his lap. It took a while to build that relationship, right? Mm-hmm. And now that relationship is built, you see the CEV sponsorship. And like he said, boss, you got to show something, right? You know? But that shows you the amount of work that my boy put in. So, and I don't want y'all to think that it's easy, because I saw it firsthand, the emotion that my boy went through when he was told you can't video here. Like, I saw him frown up and I said, hold on, bro, calm down. Because I saw his emotions. Because he flies from California to Dallas to capture these moments. Anybody check the prices of those tickets? Yeah, man. You know? And that's what he does to create the moments that we see. So I don't want people to think that JAYLON would just showed up. No, like when I first met JAYLON told me no. But over time, it became yes. So it's not an easy thing. I just want to be clear on that you know, that it's a lot of work and it's a lot of trust and it's a lot of good judgment. He don't throw the players under the bus. You know, it's a real thing that he does. So I just thought about that when I saw that video. I said that video looks smooth, but I remember West Coast was told, you got 30 seconds. And he was walking with him and he made the best out of it. And the question was a perfect question. Where did the swipe come from? And JAYLON stopped because it was a good question. He was like, you know what? You didn't ask me something crazy. You didn't ask me something rude. You asked me something that brought me to my past. And it was a good memory. And he took the time. So I just wanted to get a whole story on it. So anyways, it's just because I don't think people really see the background. And if you watch the video, I was right behind him. So I saw he only had 30 seconds, but that 30-second turned into 2 minutes because he asked the right question. And it was good judgment. So don't take for granted what you get out of West Coast, and don't take for granted what you get out of Boss, because it's one of those things to where I see from being on the inside, I appreciate West Coast even more.
Yeah, man. Hey, the key ingredient, man, is to just show growth, man. Like we celebrate, like my boy Nipsey Hussle said, we celebrate every victory. You know what I'm saying? We celebrate every victory, and we put some hard thought to every loss. You know what I'm saying? Like
right.
every victory is celebrated. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like we have spent, like, at my house, you know what I'm saying, it was National Graduation Day. It's National Graduation next Thursday. Why? Because I got 2 kids in my house that's graduating. You know what I'm saying? And we gonna do it big. So we celebrate every today was a victory, man. Like, I ain't gonna lie, today was a moment because, I mean, I love the fact, I just love the fact of how seriously my boy took it, man. And it wasn't on like I ain't gonna lie, I thought it was, I thought he was gonna be walking through the house or something. But like the fact of, the seriousness that he brought, yeah, he had it set up, man. So it's like I definitely feel I appreciate, I think that's the best love in the world, man. I think that's like, what the whole purpose of my content is, especially on Instagram, because I know I have access to the players, and that is to create content that players will react to. Whether that be West Coast, you're absolutely wrong on what you're saying. Okay, well, correct me. Or West Coast, you're spot on. You know what I'm saying? Or what you're saying. So, I mean, that's my number one thing, and I absolutely know that there's not amount of, I would never be a billionaire, so I will never. There's places in the Cowboys room, that the Cowboys at AT&T Stadium, that you will not get into unless you have a relationship with someone that's already walking into that room. And I just praise God for those relationships, and I cherish them and I appreciate them. So just like when you guys support me and I tell you guys that I appreciate you guys, like, I'm not being facetious and I'm not being like kind of like, trying to just throw words at you guys. Like, I really want to let you guys, man, know that I appreciate you, man, because like, all this started, like all this is off relationships. I built a relationship with my boy YL. My boy YL was the official DJ of the Dallas Cowboys. That led to me, being introduced to Jalen Smith, which then, led me to being introduced to this player. So, I mean, all of it has to do with relationships, man. And then, most importantly, it also has to do with consistency. You know what I'm saying? When they see you in Dallas at these events and at these things doing this thing, and they know you from California, I think that's very dang, this dude is very serious about it. So that's why when people be like, West Coast, why you want to move to Texas? And I'll be like, because there's nothing special about West Coast. The Texas Cow. I mean, there's already 1,000 people. You know what I'm saying? People. You know what I'm saying? But I think there's something special about getting on a plane. Sacrificing that time. And doing what you got to do. Because like, I'm gonna be honest with you, when I sacrifice time and go to games, and people are like, oh, bitch, you're going to games either way. But shoot, man, it's a good thing when you sacrifice a game and you win. But shoot, in 2020, I ain't gonna lie, I went to more losses than I did wins. So it's like, man, that's a weird way to look at a season, man, when you fly into games, booking babysitters and stewing like that, and you go there and you lose by 3, or you lose because a kicker couldn't kick the field goal. Like, that mess is devastating, bro. Like, that mess is like, I live like on one end of the spectrum to the other end of the spectrum. Like when the Cowboys win, my wife goes on the internet and she buys a bunch of stuff. Why? Because she knows she has grace, man. She knows that Cowboys won. I'm gonna order a gang of stuff, Nesto pots. She got like 4 different appliances off of Cowboy wins. Why? Because I didn't care, man. I'm running through that. I'm swagged out. You know what I'm saying? Cowboys lose, man. I'm getting that call from my mama and my wife. Hey. You okay?
And we got Mike Jackson.
hey, that's all my mama gonna say. You okay? That's all she say. You okay?
Yeah.
I be like, yeah, I'm good. She be like, all right. I'm gonna come over there on Thursday.
West Coast told me one day, if your mama don't check on you after a loss, you ain't no damn.
Yeah, like for real. Like, I'm gonna tell you something. Like, I'm gonna put that on the post. Like, for real. If the Cowboys lose and don't nobody hit you up and ask you if you okay, you ain't no damn Cowboy fan. Because when the Cowboys lose, I got 90 people that hit me up at West Coast. Hey, I'm about to go into work. I just want to check on you. You good? You good? I'm about to go to work. You need something before I go out?
We got Mike Jack. That's gonna be fire, y'all. I talked to Mike Jack. He gonna keep it 100. If you really want to know what happened, tune in tomorrow.
Yeah, man.
And then we got on Thursday Clay Mack, bro. This week is already crazy, bro. Like, if you
Clay
want to
Mack,
know what
only Jamal Adams' personal coach. He's only Jamal Adams' personal coach. He's
and
only Jamal Adams' personal coach.
And our secondary, like he coaches Awuzie. You know what I mean? You know, he coaches our guys. Jordan Lewis, he coaches our guys. So it's so much meat we finna pull out, and plus me and you play corner, bro. Come on, bro. We finna dig.
Hey man, hey, before we get up out of here, I want to say, man, Dallas Cowboys to the death for me. I'm going to keep ripping live till there's no more left of me. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my boy, Star Boy, in the building, man. I see you, man. Hey, we got to do that video this year to Dallas
Nick,
Cowboys.
I see you and Reggie.
We got to see. I see you, man. But, hey, man, I'm about to get up out of here, man. This has been a ridiculous show. This was a record-breaking show. We did 34,000 stars, 34,627 stars. This was a record show. And I want to shout out to hey, I'm going to tell you guys, we got 55 people on here. We are up to like 200-something at the peak. I want to tell you guys, man, if you stayed through the entire show, all 2 hours and 25 minutes, shout out to your battery. Shout out to your battery. Shout out to your quarter, your charger that held you down. Shout out to that janky that charger that held you down. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all them things that did. Hey, and for the people that had to hold their phone this whole 2 times, shout out to that right arm that held your phone up straight. You know what I'm talking about? Shout out, man, for them folks who've been live with us for 2 hours and 34 minutes. Shout out to your battery. You know what I'm saying? Hey, and if your data didn't cut out, shout out to your janky old data program. You know what I'm talking about? That only work when it's supposed to. You know what I'm saying? But shout out to your cell phone company, man, for holding you down if you was on here this whole 2 hours and 24 minutes. You know what I'm talking about? Android, Apple, you already know what it is. But, hey, man, I'm about to get up out of here, man. I'm about to send y'all to my sponsor. His name is Jay, and y'all already know what it is. If you was having some real estate issues and you got a landlord that's at your door right now saying, hey, man, I need my money on the 1st. I don't need it on the 3rd. I don't need it on the 4th. You know what I'm saying? This is the 13th, and I ain't got my money. I need you to go. If you having them type of conversation and them type of issues, man, you need to holler at my dog, man. I'm telling you right now, in my inbox right now, I have proof that, well, actually, what day is today? Hey, somebody I helped actually moved in on the 23rd. Like, think about this, man. Like, I'm going to tell you how good God is. This show actually helped someone get a home for their family. Simply because they watched the show, they saw the commercial, and they picked up the phone and they called. And they said, hey, man, my boy West Coast told me you could hook me up. And guess what? They've been living in their house. Today's the 26th. They've been living in their house 3 days now. Shout out to the sponsor. Hey, man, you already know what it is. Never look down because the stars up. Peace.